Welcome into the Cam Strick podcast, episode number 168, presented by Hair Club for men and women.
Men and women, baby. And I'll tell you, the one dude that doesn't need Hair Club, and there's a lot of people, men and women, that do need Hair Club, and it fucking Bobby Clarke now needed it. Hi. That son of a bitch had nice
He's
ass
like a
flow.
silver fox, that guy.
That dude's got nice ass
He's
flow.
got the silver ass hair.
He does his shit. But a lot of people do need... My bald spot's getting so fucking big right now, it's disturbing.
Well,
I gotta go down to Boca
Is it expanding? Is that what happens?
It's expanding. It's disgusting.
What's your diet like? What are you eating? Because I could
The
probably
fuck
help
does
you
that-
out
no, no,
with
no.
that.
It has
Well,
nothing to do
it
with
could be
that, no.
what you're eating.
Well, okay. Well, sorry. I ate a cheeseburger and my fucking hair fell.
Stop
Whatever.
eating that shit.
Oh, okay.
Probably makes
Sorry,
you
do you want me to
more
not
bald.
eat meat like you do? No, I'm not doing that. But the point is, you go anywhere, they have so many different locations. Hair Club for men and women. And Bobby Clarke, who we just had on, who was fantastic.
Yeah.
Great get by you, Andy, to be honest with you. I had to leave my new radio show an hour early just to goddamn
Well, get
do
used
this.
to that. That's the way
Well,
we're going.
I can't-
That's for the cost
No,
of
no.
business,
Hey,
for the
Dick
price
Wad.
of business.
Hey, Dick, I can't do that much anymore, just so you know.
Well.
But I did it for the Bobby Clarke, and if you get another Bobby Clarke on, I'll
You'll do it. Yeah. Well, everyone we get on is
Well,
pretty much
that's
like
how it is.
everyone we get on is kind of like a Bobby Clarke.
They're unbelievable. We
I
get the
know.
best of the best.
I know.
We get the best guests.
I don't get it.
Okay, a podcast might be better than us. Fine. You want to look at the
Is
algorithm?
there?
No, listen.
Hold on.
You want to look at
Hold on.
I'll explain.
Explain what you mean by that.
If you want to look at algorithm and people are like, look, I bumped up here. Fine. We get the best fucking guests on. And that's the bottom line. We get the best guests. And it's not because of me. It's not because of Brody. It's because of you. And I'm going to pump you up. You get the best fucking guests on. And I have to explain it to people. They're like, well, no, Andy gets them on. Well, they do it because of you. I go, not really. Half the fucking people don't even know who the fuck I am. They just have a relationship with Andy, and they come on, and we're funny, and they like us, and they want to come on again, and they get loosey-goosey because maybe of something I said or whatever, maybe. But Andy's the one that gets them.
Well, we have real conversations with them. And I will say
pump
this,
your tires up.
and we have had current players on, and some people out there, listen, some say, hey, you like the current players. Other listeners like the legends,
guys?
the old school guys or whatever. It's a little
balance,
like
Andy.
it's a balance. And the current players are cool and all, but sometimes like I talk to these guys every day, like you know them already. It's like
Andy.
I don't think about getting them on the podcast all the
fucking time
because I already see them it's just kind of like, I don't know, I'd rather them come on after their playing career.
Here's
so
why.
you can really ask questions that you need answers to that they really aren't in position to answer.
There it is.
Honestly, when they're still
I'll give
under
you an example.
contract and earning a paycheck.
I'll give you an example. You ask a current player, most of the current players, now, Trevor Zegras and guys like that, fucking cool as
I
shit.
want to learn about the young guys
Now,
for sure.
We need to get to,
Yeah.
but you get a fucking regular older guy that's on. He's such a fucking robot. Not everybody, but such a robot. Right? What's going on? Well, the team's going to play better. No. Where the fuck are you? Do you have horses? Do you have a boat? Well, the team's got to be better. And no. I asked you about your fucking toys. Yeah. Well, the team. No, see, that's what it is.
I know.
Where you get these old school guys aren't like, oh, I got fucking horses. I fucking spend my money. I do that. Like they are. It's just such a difference. So yeah, we'll get the current guys on, but most of them suck.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Most of them suck.
Although we just had a guy on that we just interviewed just now.
Oh my God!
Won't mention who it was, but we talked about guns. This guy has guns.
Oh my God! Great
And
guy.
I am not a gun guy, Cam. I am.
Stop being a bitch.
Well, I'm just saying.
Act like, no. Here's damn it.
I'm not anti-gun.
No, but
I just never really been exposed to guns.
Andy had his
except
shtick.
when I was in high school back in the day because I went to school because there's a lot of dangerous stuff going on in my school. A lot of gang activity, a lot of stuff. So I saw.
We all had gang activity. Get on.
No, I saw
Here's
some
the
of
deal.
that.
Here's Andy though.
More than you.
Andy.
Where you went to high school in
I went
Windsor?
to Eureka High School.
In Windsor?
And Windsor was hardcore. Are you out of your fucking mind?
What I went through back in the
fucking
day.
shit. You didn't go through the God. So Andy, here's Andy when you're ignorant about guns. He's like, I'm anti-gun. Like what? Just because you don't have a gun doesn't mean you should be anti-gun. Like the people that we know that are in your subdivision that all have weapons, just like my subdivision out there in a wealthy part of Franklin County, everybody has a gun. Multiple guns. Not one crime. Not one in our subdivision. No one shoots anybody in our subdivision.
Well,
they just have a bunch of
until
guns.
it accidentally goes
The
off.
only time, because ignorant people, when it comes to weapons, and I'm not a big gun guy either, they look at the stats and are like, oh my God, these AK-47s are killing people. Oh, I'm not getting one. Well, a gun doesn't pop up and say, you know what, I'm bored. I'm bored being in a drawer. I'm bored of this stupid lock. I'm going to unlock myself. I'm going to walk around the house. I'm going to shoot somebody. It doesn't work that way. The dipshits that own the guns are the ones that are dipshits.
Yeah, because not to get I don't want to make a political or anything like that because we're not. But like the gun violence that you see
in the city,
that's gang. How do we?
Because Andy, there's 350.
How do we get the guns out of their hands?
Because you can't.
So we just deal with it?
No,
I mean, what do we do?
Well, here's what you do. Mm-hmm. You give them a fucking 10-year fucking charge every time you have an illegal gun. 10 years you go to jail for. If you have a legal weapon, which is mostly handguns in the city, you give them fucking 10 years.
I think New York had like a mandatory sentence of like 3 years or something like that.
Years you get. If you have an illegal gun or you commit a crime with an illegal gun, you get a fucking huge staunch.
You're talking
now guys are killing each other.
You're in, you like mandatory sentences.
Mandatory sentences, if you have a legal gun, you commit a crime with it. That's a mandatory sentence. You got to scare these guys, man. Just like Mayor Giuliani did in the late '80s with the crime in New York City, man. It's called
Giuliani.
Mayor Giuliani got rid of the mob, but they put all these different.
Didn't he have like a prostitute or something like that? Was there like a camera going on?
I don't give a fuck.
I'm just making sure we're talking about the same guy.
Mayor. He smoked crack with a prostitute. That's
that was a different guy.
And they rehired him.
That's
too.
The guy in Toronto.
They rehired.
Who was the mayor in
he died.
Toronto?
And now Toronto's such a fucking. Wait. These motherfuckers up in Toronto are a fucking joke.
Who? The political people?
Are you kidding me?
I know. Well, I'm not saying I know. I know who you're talking about. So my most recent cameo. Here's the story. You'll like this story.
Don't
actually.
Waste time you'll like. I got to get the fuck out of here.
You'll like this story actually because this guy is a referee, and this is a feel good story. A coach, like a youth hockey coach. I don't think they're located here in St. Louis. I think they're in Minnesota. I've got fans everywhere, Cam, as you know. In Minnesota,
sure.
Okay, in Minnesota, he had an extra ticket to the Winter Classic, and he invited the referee.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
To come to the game with him because his family, who was going to go, they couldn't go. Well, then the family could go, but they still brought the guy with them to the Winter Classic, and he was able to find a ticket online. On one of the secondary markets, whatever, and it just so happened to be in the same section, like the row right below, like right in front of the people he was going to go with anyway. So it like worked out perfectly. Went to the game and they had great memories together. So
that's actually a terrible story.
The coach took the referee with him.
That's
he didn't. Amazing gesture.
No, he didn't. You dummy.
Well, he originally asked him.
But that's the stupidest.
He took it away.
Actually, that's the stupidest fuck thing I've ever heard in my life. Who the fuck is this guy? His fucking broad says, no, I can't go. And then he invites a fucking ref.
No, I'm not done. I'm not done. His brother,
I'm not done. And then he's like, I'm going to get this. I'm a good person. I'm going to get a referee that I probably told to go fuck himself, and I'm going to kill his family because he called a penalty on my son. So I'm going to invite him. And then my broad's going to be like, no, I'm going. And then my broad owns me. So I'm going to be like, no, ref, you can't go. And I tortured you and told you I was going to fucking kill you. So now I'm going to bring my girl and my kids, and then you're gonna have to
referee.
And then you're gonna you as a referee gonna have to go buy your own fucking tickets, and now you're gonna sit in front of me and it's a happy story. Go fuck yourself.
He found one on the secondary market for $75.
So he bought it for the refs.
I think the referee bought it for
Then
himself.
That's a fucking joke of a story, Andy. Why waste my time?
Can I play the cameo
waste my
for
fucking
you? We
time.
may have to play
No
it
one cares
here
about
on the
you have
pod.
3 cameos.
Okay.
I looked it up.
No,
you have 3 total. It's a joke.
There's more than that.
Listen, it's all good. Spend money on Andy. That's fine.
Hey,
cool.
When I do my cameos, I send them to Cam, and what do you say?
I don't say a fucking thing.
You're like, wow, that's really good.
No, I lie to you.
Oh, it's not. You're not being honest about that?
Yeah, no, I'm not. Of course not. Why would I watch? See, here's what Andy and I are different. Andy will call me and talk about himself and be like, how'd I look? How'd I do? Da-da-da-da. And I'll be like, this is good, man. You did good on that. You looked okay. Da-da. If I ever call Andy about, even if I have a fucking drug problem and I'm fucking like dying and like going through, he'll be like, well, get over it because we got fucking a podcast to do tomorrow. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Sorry. So that's the difference, man. Andy doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care about me. But once he asked me to like say something about him and like his cameo, I'll pump his tires up. But and again, it just doesn't fucking matter.
I don't think that's accurate.
And tell that guy that you wasted our time with that stupid fucking story.
Well, he's probably listening, so be nice.
Fuck him.
No,
you fucking nice. Your broad owns you. By the way, you pump this guy up. He wants to go to the Winter Classic, and you're like, oh, my girl's going now. He's probably like, go fuck yourself. And now he's got to buy his own ticket, and you're like, oh, now they're by each other. This is cute and what a happily ever. No, it's not. The ref had to buy his own ticket, and he's freezing to death by himself. Stupid fucking story.
In summary,
what a dumb story that was.
In summary, 5-star review on that one. And
good for you.
In fact, what he said was he said something very, very nice. Andy went all out on this cameo, probably one of the better ones.
He talked about his career and We broke down these, all those big goals.
Let me
scored.
finish. Probably one of the better ones I've seen done. Thank you, Andy, for all your kind words on this.
That
I'm just saying that's what it says right there.
Waste my time.
5 stars. So if anybody else wants to experience that, feel free to just.
How about I just give you money? I'd rather pay you for cameos and not talk about it. For fuck's sake, you need money. You need money or something?
We're good. Actually,
do you need money?
He had like a discount or something like that.
You need money.
I called you about that.
Why do you brag about your cameos so much? You made $15 so far.
Cam,
you need
tell me
money.
about your cameos all the time.
No, I don't.
Sure you do. You're like, I got to go home and do 6 cameos.
Because you want me to do other things, and I'm like, I'm busy. I don't brag about it on the fucking podcast.
Hey, I'm just telling you.
I got fucking 100 of them.
It's a wonderful story.
You had 3.
Around this time of year. It's a wonderful story.
I got 100.
Anything hockey-wise piquing your interest right now?
Well, the Blues are really good.
Yeah, they're good.
They're fucking good, dude. Yeah. The Blues are fucking
they're
good.
getting a lot of home games.
I don't give a
like
shit if I'm from St. Louis. I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. Does it really necessarily directly affect us? No. Like, it doesn't. But the Blues are a baby. Like, we love Tommy Stoneman, the owner. We love fucking Al. We love everybody involved.
The Chief. I'm going to an event with Chief tonight.
We love Chief. We love the guys. They're all cool. Like, this,
thought about
we love
inviting
this city.
you.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving my house to go to an event to say hey to the same people I see every fucking place I go.
Small event.
I don't give a shit.
Very small
I'm not
event.
Going.
I actually have I have Kodago that's going to be there too. A little tequila.
I got 15 bottles in my house. I don't need any. Why you? I don't do. Look, Andy does everything. I'm a recluse now. I'm in a recluse.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's tomorrow night.
I'm still not going.
Yeah.
The point is, like, I don't do that kind of shit. Andy goes everywhere, and I'm just like, Cam, can you come here? I'm like, no.
Okay.
So I'm not going.
You want to talk about Evander Kane? Is that what you want to get into today?
No. Fuck his stupid ass.
Do you have anything else you want to say? Just finish it off with Evander Kane.
Let me see. No, there's something that I don't know. What the fuck?
Well, like, I mean,
what's the big story?
Well, he's probably going to get another. Well, something had to do with COVID again, whatever. Here's the deal. Let me just break it down real simple for people in regards to Evander Kane. San Jose, they wanted to get out from underneath this contract, obviously. He's playing in the minors. They already had the issue with the fake vaccination card several weeks ago.
It's the most petty thing possible, but go ahead.
They knew they couldn't get out from underneath the contract just based on that alone.
Yes.
That's it's a pattern of behavior. Yep. So they're just kind of saying, well, he also did this, and this, and this.
He's a scumbag.
So now the collaboration of all of it is what has led to them being able to terminate his contract. Obviously, the NHLPA is going to file a grievance and all that type of stuff, and we'll see where it goes. But let me ask you this: you think another team's going to sign him?
It's a great question, Andy. I'd say, if it was the NFL, goddamn right. You could be rapey poo in the NFL. No fucking sign.
You could be what?
Rapey poo. I'm rapey today. And they're like, well, it's not that big of a deal. Well,
he served his time.
Well, he didn't serve any time. Well, he thought about it last night, so we're going to sign him to a 15-year deal. It's not the NFL. I think in NHL.
So people know you do not approve of that. Like, you don't like
that.
Who
the fuck thinks I would approve of that?
Nobody. I'm just making sure.
Andy, what are we on? Fucking Channel 5? This is the Cam Strick podcast. You don't think they know me by now?
To make sure. Yeah.
Rapey poo will get a fucking job in the NFL.
Multi-year deal.
Multi-year rapey poo.
Signing bonus.
Fucking rapey poo. Fuck him.
Probably wears the C on the jersey.
No shit.
Football players wear the C.
Well, he thought about it last night. And
Pro
he said,
Bowler.
Stupid ass shit.
I know.
But as far as Evander Kane, I don't think anybody's going to. Why fuck with him? Why even fuck with him? Now, I'm not saying disregard him and push him to the side. He's got demons.
Part of me deep down feels bad.
Let's help
him.
him.
Why do I feel bad
for him? How about this? How about the NHLPA helps him? Mm-hmm. The NHLPA helped me.
Yeah.
They have.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
we're going
it
to
took
talk
a little
about
while.
that in a few
No, I'm not ready for it yet. But the NHLPA helped me. Now, it took one fucking guy, Jerry. I'm going to give you a little fucking shout out right now. The man, right under Glenn Healy. Jerry, I love you to death.
Jerry's the man.
Jerry's a motherfucking man. If anybody is in a jam, you call this guy.
You call Jerry.
He is the best. Wendy McCleary, Wendy, who runs the NHLPA, she will get you in contact with Jerry. Okay. He is the fucking best.
Just so people know.
All y'all know.
All
y'all know. But if I'm looking, if I'm the NHLPA, I'm looking at Evander Kane, and I'm going to help him. He's got a gambling problem. He's got other problems. He might have a sex problem. He's bankrupt. He's got crazy. But Andy, he's got to help himself.
Crazy baby mama.
Baby mama drama,
fucking, dude.
He's impregnating women left and right. And he's paying them all like this psycho shit. Get control of this kid. But if I'm a goddamn coach, I ain't touching this motherfucker.
Okay.
I'm not.
What about a
touching
GM
him.
owner?
Oh, fuck him.
For the minimum?
Fuck no. You're going to bring him in, and then all of a sudden everybody's going to look up all the shit he's going to do and blah, blah, blah. No, it's just not worth it. He's not even that
You can
good.
play in like Arizona, like no one even knows.
They won't even care there. Do they have a team?
They're like, what?
They have a team?
Okay.
But the point is, no, I'm not touching him. But I will say this, the NHLPA, you need to get a hold of this guy, and you need to sit him down and figure out what's next, because he's got no money and he's got problems.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? I got problems too, and they help me.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Well, you have me who's like keeping you in the straight.
Andy's like, Andy, I'll be like, Andy, I'm an alcoholic. I'm dying here. I'm like, I can't do it. Well, you going to be there today for the 1 o'clock thing? We got work today. No, Andy, I'm going through withdrawals. Help me, man. I got heroin. No, are you going to be there today? No. But the point
that
is...
That is not true.
It kind of is. But the point is,
come on.
The NHLPA, you got to help these kind of guys, man. We all wrote them off. It's not about us. It's about you helping them. But as far as being a GM in the league, I ain't touching that motherfucker.
Okay, is it bad for me? Like, I don't celebrate when the Leafs fail or they lose or they like lose.
Whatever.
Okay, but like
whatever.
All I'm saying is this: when they're up 4-1 on the Avs, and that's when I start watching the game. Okay, and I'm like,
Carlos,
I'm like, oh, they're 4-1 because what happens when they're beating the Avs 4-1? Everybody's pumping their chest on social media. It's all over Twitter. All the Leafs fans, they come out. And they're like, we're great, blah, blah, blah. Look at this. We're a wagon. We are a Stanley Cup contender. Look at. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to turn in the game. I watched the game, and I know Colorado had some power plays in the third period. I don't think Toronto. I watched the third. I don't think they didn't get the puck out of the zone the entire period.
I know.
And I said to my wife, who doesn't even know it, she's like doing something else on her phone. I go, look at the score. I go, it's 4-1, right? Actually, Makar scored to make it 4-2 at the end of the second.
He's pretty good.
So it was 4-2 coming into the third. I said, look at the score right now. I go, Colorado's going to come back and win this game. Because the game was in Colorado. I was like, just watch. They just flipped the switch. They turned it on. And all the Leafs fans are coming at me being like, oh, well, we've only played 3 games in the last 30 days, something like that, whatever. I'm like, but that's not what you were saying when you were up 4-1. Okay, you're up 4-1 in the NHL. Your goaltender's standing on his head. He's making crazy saves. He's got no help whatsoever. Colorado comes back. They just win the game. This is what happens to the Leafs, and this is why I continuously say this when we get to the postseason, because they're going to end up playing like a Tampa Bay or somebody like that in the first round.
Carolina.
Whatever.
You're getting fucking shit kicked.
And they're going to end up losing in the first round again. And I know it's fun watching them do their thing in the regular season, but...
You're getting shit kicked.
I like this Jack Campbell, though.
I do, too. I don't mind him.
Man.
And look, man, you got guys making a ton of money. And we've said this a billion times. Like, you got guys like Mitch Marner, who Barbashev's got more fuck. Mitchie Marner.
He's in protocol,
It's Mitchie Marner. Well, he's making 11.5.
Marnie time.
Mitchie Marner. He's making 11.5. And he's just a little boy. Like, he'll have the puck here and there, but once he gets hit, like, he's just not.
He's pretty fucking good.
He's fucking good, man. But he hasn't been good.
He's like Kyrou. He's like Kyrou good. Like
Kyrou's making fucking 2.5.
2.8. That's the difference.
Kyrou's making 2.8.
What's the difference between... Well, though, here's the deal, though.
Kyrou's better than fucking Mitch Marner. That's a hot take right there. Kyrou's better than Mitch Marner.
Well, we may be saying that 2-3 years
Andy,
from now.
I just fucking said it.
Yeah, he might be.
Kyrou's better than Mitch Marner.
And he's making 2.8. The other guy's making 11.5 or whatever.
11.5.
But the difference is when Marner's contract was up, I mean, he's putting up like a hundo, whatever.
94.
And,
94.
Okay, so then with Kyrou, when his contract was up, like, he hadn't even played a full season.
If Kyrou made...
So it's a little easier to pay him. Because here's the deal. He said a 2-year deal. He ain't making 2.8.
No. He'll make 5.2 then.
No, he'll make 8+.
No way.
He's going to lead the team in scoring this year. He'll lead the team in scoring next year.
He won't make $8 million, though. Not with the Blues.
Oh, sure he will.
No, he won't. You want to bet on that?
If he signs a long-term deal,
you want to bet? You
will.
think he's going to make $8 million?
Why not?
Because they don't sign for people $8 million.
Yeah, but they did with Tarasenko and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, 7.5.
You know, Tarasenko...
You're talking 8. I bet you won't get 8. I bet you'll get 6.5 for a long time.
That's going to be hard to do, man.
I just think that's what it's going to be.
I got to look at the contract, see if he's got arb rights, all that.
He ain't going to make over 8. And you compare 8 to 11.5, and there's.
I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to make 8 or whatever. But here's the deal: if he leads a team in scoring this year and next, and say he finishes with somewhere around 80 points, you're not getting him at 6.5, whatever you're talking about.
Maybe 7.
You know, it's going to be hard to do.
It's not going to be 11.5.
Oh hell no! No one's making 11 and 11.5 here.
Some people do. Oh, okay.
And now you got their best player, Buchnevich, who...
Oh, my God.
I told you how good this guy would be.
He's fucking good.
From the day they traded him.
He's so good.
From the day I tweeted that he was available and the Blues were interested, I just knew. I like watching this guy play last year. He is so damn good. He's at 5'8" for 4 years.
Mean, too. Fucking
no
mean.
signing bonus.
I don't give a fuck.
Doug Armstrong, he just finds a way.
Find it, dude. Like, this is how you do it, though. Like, you kind of have to
Robert Thomas at 2.8.
I mean, you build your system. Look, if you find all these Stanley Cup winners, man, like they got guys like Kyrou and Thomas making 2.5 that are just dominant.
But we can both agree. I mean, eventually, at some point in time, these kids are so good. They're going to
make their money.
It's
just not going to be 11.5.
They're going to have to get paid.
It's not going to be 11.5.
No, it's going to be not going to be 11.5.
Well, that's what my point is. Yeah. It's so fucking ridiculous. Why would you sign a guy that much?
Let me tell you this too, because people are like, how come Chief hasn't been re-signed yet? Listen, eventually he will. He's
going to be fine.
And here's the difference. And I think Doug Armstrong, this is my opinion, I think he looks at it this way. We see these coaches around the league making crazy money, these long-term contracts, whether it's Todd McClellan, Alain Vigneault, Joe Quenneville, whatever. He had won 3 cups.
Yeah, he deserved that.
He can get paid. Yep. Babcock made way too much money in Toronto.
Too much. Andy? God damn.
Those days, hear me out, hockey world. Those days are over. Out the window. Coaches aren't getting 5-6 year deals anymore, and they're not getting $5-6 million a year to coach in the NHL.
You're making $7 million, and Ryan O'Reilly's making $7 million.
So you may get your 3-year deal. You'll get your 3-year deal, and you may make $3 million a year.
They shouldn't make that much,
and you may get 2.5, 3.5. What I don't know how high it's going to go, but it's not going to be 5, 6, 4, 4.5. You're not getting that.
You ain't fucking Nick Saban.
Now, there may be an organization that will pay a coach, and so maybe a coach says, you know what, I'm just going to play it out, and I'm going to leave because I got the news that there's another team out there that will pay me, but
Andy,
the smart GMs aren't doing it.
Andy, if I'm a GM, I don't want my coach making over my big boy fucking players. Mm-hmm. I don't want my fucking coach making more money than my fucking top 4 guys.
But here's the difference. It's not just the GM, it's the owner. Because you know what?
Whatever. Yeah.
I'm not paying a guy $5-6 million bucks after we fire his ass. That's not happening.
It's not happening.
And
it's
every coach has a shelf life. We all know that. Yeah. But I'm not going to get caught in a situation where I got to pay a guy $5 million when he's not working for me anymore. Hell no.
Your coach can only do so much. Your players do the rest. I'm sorry. Look, all the systems are about the same. Like they are.
Yeah,
Andy, the systems are about the
there may be a little
who
tweak
does
here
it
and
better.
there.
What team does it better? And I know that's still on the coach, but it's still on your leader.
Yeah.
Okay? Your coach could say all he wants, do this, do this. The fucking Ryan O'Reilly brings it, okay? And then everybody else jumps on top, and they go do this, and Colton Parayko does it, and whatever.
Even when O'Reilly's not producing at a high level, production-wise, point-wise, he still finds he just impacts the game.
He impacts the game. It's him.
Listen, I'm getting into like analytics now. I'm gonna start having like an analytics segment here.
Cool. I'll be away from that.
I like some of these stats.
Analytics are for the Chasers, like Chaser said on Twitter.
What do you say?
Chaser goes, Jack Buck. I love Chaser sometimes on Twitter. It's so fucking funny. He goes, Jack Buck came to me one time, and I had all these fucking notes down. He goes, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, get rid of these fucking notes. You fucking played me. You've been playing the game 12 years. They don't. The fans don't want Chaser to bring up analytics. The fans want to hear Chaser break the fucking game down on how he sees it. Yeah. Don't look at the sheet and be like, well, he did this, blah, blah, blah. Just fucking see what you see.
Jack Buck told a lot of people that who were doing shit. That's why Cam, because I come from that mold in terms of where he was like, working where I came up in the business, where Jack Buck was around all the time. I don't have notes.
You don't have ever notes anytime.
And Timmy Peel talks about that all the time. I do a radio show with him once a week now. He and Jamal, they're like, how do you not have any notes? Like, they come in with, I don't like notes. I think it distracts me if I have notes. I'll write stuff down if I want to remember something, a question I want to ask about, whatever.
You have a good memory, too. I don't.
I get that. And I'm not saying that's for everybody. But, the analytics, there's certain type of analytics. I like the analytics where I don't need a PhD in mathematics to understand how to do it. Like where I need to solve like an equation. Yeah. But when it's like, okay, who's leading the league in slot chances? Who's leading the league in inner slot?
Can I give you an example?
Yeah. Who's leading the league in stretch passes connected or exits or entries? I like some of that stuff. Takeaways in the defensive zone.
Let me give you an example.
I like some of that stuff.
Let me give you an example. Here's where I love analytics. This kid from Nashville. Nashville's a fucking fuck you
but
team.
They're not a contender.
Fuck that.
No, they're not. And we'll get into that here in a second.
I like this national
because everybody else who's breaking it down around the league, they think every team who's good is like a contender.
Let me give you an example.
They're better than Vegas, Colorado, or St. Louis?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're big, they're tough, and they got skill. Mm-hmm. And they got this young kid named Tanner Jeannot. So
he fights too.
Here's where analytics. They go here. I'm going to compare this,
and we love Lukey Cunnin too.
We love Lukey fucking Cunnin, tough little fuck too handsome bugger. I love you. I love you. I like this Tanner
and
cat.
Philip Forsberg,
handsome son of a bitch.
Johansson.
I like their team.
Yeah.
I like Borowiecki too. Little tough fuck. He knocked somebody out with a left the other day.
Oh, former Ottawa Senator.
There, I know. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so here are I like analytics. They brought this Tanner kid up, this young rookie. He's got 10 goals, 10 assists. I think he's got more now. Mm-hmm. And they go, here, let me compare him to the other rookies. Not just his numbers. Mm-hmm. He's third in the league in hits. He compared Zegras to him and all these other big top rookies. Tanner is on the ice 45 minutes more in the D zone than those guys.
There you go.
Tanner's on the ice 40 minutes more at the end of the game in high situations.
Those are
more.
Good analytics,
these are my
dude.
That's
like. What I'm talking
all you
about.
nerd boys,
Who's a
come
winner?
by me.
Who's a winner?
And here's another thing.
Yeah.
He's also in the most. There's another big analytical thing that he is way ahead of Zegras and all these guys, and the point production's right there.
Yeah.
And he hits. And he fights.
But he just doesn't make the timeline of some of these, There
it is.
House of Zegras and stuff like that doesn't talk about some of these guys.
House of Zegras. You mean Bucci? Jesus Christ, Bucci. Worry about.
No, I'm just saying. So,
it's like you're 40 years older than him.
No, but some of the analytics, like slot shots, cycle chances, rush chances, rebound chances.
Are you at
slot passes. I like some of that.
Does your coach put you out at the end of the game?
Right.
Does your coach put you out in the most important position in the game?
But let me
they
say
don't do
that.
it in Zegras, but they do it with you.
But let me say this though. I can't hold that against a young player. I mean, a lot of times a coach doesn't trust a young player. Even in the Winter Classic, when Kyrou had 4 points, you know how many shifts he had in the last 5 minutes of the game?
2.
When Minnesota flipped the switch,
1, maybe
1. Minnesota flipped the switch and all of a sudden made it a game.
Anything. What's that mean?
No, I'm just saying
he's offensive.
Okay, but I'm saying a lot of younger guys. It takes time to learn time and score.
Not with this kid.
Not with that, but exactly.
That's what I mean.
But he's an aberration. So I don't hold it against Zegras.
But I
and those
would
guys.
never.
Yeah.
No. I'm not holding against them. I'm just. I'm separating this young.
You're
tough
saying
kid.
what he does and how he's being used. Yeah.
I would never known that until I read the analytics on him and he's out.
Was that on Chaser's Twitter too?
No, somebody. No, it was Ruppy, Mikey Rupp, who we love.
I love Rupper,
God, is he so goddamn funny? He's such a nerd
he's a former Danbury Trasher too.
He's a nerd on hockey and he's great.
But not in real life.
In real life, he's George Costanza. He does it just funny shit happens. It's like me. Like I go to the gas station, I trip and fall in front of people or something like that. That's Ruppy. It's the funniest damn thing in the world. I love him, but the point is he posted something and just somebody put the analytics of this fucking Jeannot kid.
Yeah,
and he's Jeannot, whatever the fuck, and his analytics, you're like, oh my God, and they compared it to everybody else. He's a step ahead of everybody.
What do you want to know? Who leads the league in slot shots?
That doesn't mean shit to me.
Well, kind of. Rush chances and stuff like that?
No, it
can.
Yeah, sure, but it's more like who's on the ice at the end of the game.
You know what you're going to be surprised about?
What?
Who leads the league in slot shots? Shots from the slot? Slot shots.
Brady? Kachuk?
Ooh. No, we got Brody. See, Brody's all into it. Brody knows this shit.
Well, he's a fucking 23-year-old kid.
But no.
Oh, 21-year-old kid.
He said Brady, no. Brady may in inner slot shots, I don't know.
Andy, it doesn't fucking matter.
But slot shots, Tarasenko.
Yeah.
Leads the league.
He's got COVID.
Oh, he's coming back now.
God, thank God.
I was down at the rink this morning. Sat down with Chris Pronger, guest on the show. We'll give him a shout out having his jersey retired.
Let me a couple things real quick. You
have some notes?
Yeah, I like Jamie Benn.
Okay,
I love
Jamie.
He's
kind of a bully.
He's starting to piss me the fuck off a little bit. I love him though.
Yeah,
he's a handsome bugger. He's supposed to be a fucking the coolest cat in the world.
I hear that.
If I went down to Dallas, Benner,
you see,
can we go have a fucking
but
steak?
even in the game over the weekend,
he started to do some bullshit.
Kyrou's, stick handling. He just comes over and throws him on his ass.
Oh no, he rock. You're right.
Kyrou, and then he slashed Costin going back to the bench.
He sits on Petro back in the day. He's a bully.
Yeah, he
is. So don't let him do shit. Like, he started to piss me off a little bit, but I like Benner.
He's a veteran guy. He's been doing it for a long time. He's one of those guys where I don't know. It's like I still want to see him like.
Hey, how about Trent Frederick? Let me get a shout out.
Frederick, you saw me wearing that hoodie. I got one for you, by the way.
Can you give me one?
The Trent Frederick Fight Club. I should have brought it to you. Follow me to my house.
Time out. Do you think Trent Frederick's like, I'm going to give you and Cam sweatshirts?
He didn't give it to me.
And he gives you a sweatshirt, and he's like, no, don't worry about Cam wearing it. I want you to wear it.
No.
Get the fuck out of here.
Dude, I tweeted out the name of the guy who sent it to me. And
where's mine?
So I kept it. I didn't tell Trent because I wanted to wait.
What's he doing?
Who, the guy who sent it to me?
Why can't I get one of those? I wanted to take I don't take a picture of many things.
Okay.
But when it's Trent Frederick and he's kicking ass, I want to wear his stuff.
Doing that. So anyway, I get the hoodie, and I forgot about it because Trent hadn't had a fight, I don't think, all year long. So I was like, waiting. All of a sudden, like, here he is, like, involved, and he's taking Zuccarello's helmet off and stuff. I'm like, I love this is going to be an interesting night. Texted Brody, took the picture. I'm like, hey, be ready for this. Okay. Something's going down. So Trent sees it the next day, shoots me a text, the family, everybody. So I'm making sure everybody gets their hoodies, the Trent Frederick Fight Club. Give a big shout out to Trent. And people are like, Andy, he's going to get suspended.
Yeah, Trent, send it to Andy so Andy could wear a fight fucking hoodie so he could represent the fighting culture. Like, what are we doing here? Where the fuck is mine?
Trent had never heard of it. He didn't even know about it.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, I'm like, what the fuck is going on
he'd never seen the
I almost texted him.
He had never seen the hoodie.
Like, all I do is pump your fucking tires up.
Oh God, are your feelings hurt?
I'm getting a little hurt on this. Because it's starting to piss me off.
He didn't even know about it. Like, he was like, "Where'd you get that?"
I'm like, "Give me one of these."
I'm like, "It's some dude. I think he's in Boston."
Fighting? My dad's even like, "Where the fuck is this at?" Like, I want to wear.
Why
this.
Your dad follows me on Instagram? Well, he probably does. No, he must. He must. How'd your dad know about it? Twitter, maybe.
No, he doesn't get on Twitter. There's something
Instagram.
That he's like, "Why?"
Somebody sent it to him.
So did Trent Frederick get it? I go, I don't know. He loves Trent. Like, like my mom and dad. How could you not?
And people are like, he's going to get suspended for what he did to Kaprizov. I'm like,
wait, what did he do? Just a weird hit?
Kaprizov was kind of in an awkward position. Brody, he didn't get suspended for that, right?
No, I didn't.
I missed that.
But now old boy's pissed. Guerin and the guys. All right,
well, it's their guy. I get that. You got Kaprizov on the wall in a little bit of a vulnerable position. Hey, Trent Frederick's trying to earn ice time, man. If he's on the ice against one of the best players in the league, you know what? Guess what? He's going to finish. He's going to finish him off.
And Frederick pumped some kid, and then Foligno came in and caught him.
He did.
And Freddie, I love
Freddie lost his grip.
There it is.
He lost his grip.
Thank you.
I've learned that. Freddie,
don't do anything, especially against a big guy like that. You get that motherfucking grip, not just the grip on the jersey. You get the grip on their shoulder pads too, and you take it and you squeeze it as hard as you can. Yeah. And now you're like, let's go.
He knows that.
He lost it.
Because I will say this, and I like this Foligno.
So do I.
I like him way more than the other Foligno, really.
I love them both. I love the whole family. I love his daddy, too. I know.
But I will say Trent is probably tougher than Foligno at the end of the day. I'm not saying a better fighter. I'm not saying just tougher in terms of pure tough. Like, he's tough.
They're fucking bad.
Foligno doesn't fight a ton, though, either.
I'm taking all those guys and put them in the same category. But if he doesn't learn his grip, it doesn't look as one-sided 100%, Andy. No doubt about it. Here's another thing.
Because Frederick,
Frederick
was in his element that game. He's like he's putting on a show.
Yeah, and do that. Yes. But sometimes when you put a show on, Andy,
he doesn't do it all the time.
Now, listen to me.
Pick your spots.
But sometimes you're gonna get caught, and you got caught with one. That's okay. And you come whatever.
That happens. Here's another thing.
Brad Marchand, I love you. I do. Although you want to go to the Olympics, settle down.
I know.
And Biz, I love you, Biz.
You're gonna retire.
I love you, Biz. And I'll say it because Biz, I love Biz and Wit. When we love Spin Chick, we look up to them. They helped us we all know that. But Biz saying that they deserve. Biz is like, well, Brad Marchand made your organization $100 million. How do you know that?
Yeah.
Like,
how do you? He makes them money, but whatever.
Of course you do. But how do you determine those $100 million? And not to mention, Biz, that they already paid him a $70 million a play. So now you got maybe $30 million to deal with. So you're going to spend that $30 million to have him go to China. And play. Wait, what?
Where?
China.
I mean,
China.
We talked about this last time. This idea of like players like retiring.
What the fuck?
Nobody should even like give them the time of day to even think that would be like.
Biz was adamant. And I'm watching, and I love him, but I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I know.
And Wit chirped him a little bit. But it's funny.
Okay, I got an announcement to make. By the way, we have our own beer coming out.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Listen, Four Hands Brewing Company, it's a brewing company out of St. Louis, but they're all over the country, and it's a huge brewing company. And they make incredible craft beers. They've got a bunch of like year-round beers, seasonal beers, and they also have a lot of seltzers and whatever. And they approached us about having us have our own beer. We did a tasting. Right, this is when Cam tried to give me COVID in my car.
You're so stupid.
In my car, he tried to give me COVID, and I took him down to the tasting, and that's where he tried to.
Andy's got 3 kids. They all lick fucking doorknobs, and they all hug Andy. Andy goes to all the games and hugs people. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in the wealthy part of Franklin County. No one's around me, and I get COVID getting into fucking Andy's fucking car. And then he blames me for COVID.
The whole radio,
go fuck yourself.
all your radio
and not to mention, I'm doing you a fucking favor anyway. I don't like going anywhere.
Okay, so
listen, go fuck yourself.
Oh, I got some other stuff for you. So okay. Anyway, so. By the end of the week, I'm going to have the cases are going to be. You start finding these in locations all over. I know for our audience that's not in St. Louis, it may be hard to get to, but maybe you can go to Four Hands Brewing Company and they can ship it to you or whatever. I don't know how that works. Go to their website, fourhandsbrewingcompany.com. But for those of you who are local, we're having a release party on the 21st, 7 o'clock. The Blues play the Kraken that night. It's in Seattle, so it's a late puck drop, and you can stick around and watch the game. I'm going to keep Cam up late that day. And he's going to stick around and watch the game for a little bit. 9 o'clock drop puck, but 7 o'clock we're going to have some giveaways and stuff like that. And it's the release of the Cam Strick Mango Lemonade, baby.
Mango Lemonade.
So
sexy.
Yeah, well, They
bang each other. If it was a porno, I'd watch it.
I don't know if the Mango in this case. I mean, it's Cam and Strick, so I don't know how much of that is really going on.
Well, one's a girl and one's a boy, Andy.
Okay.
Unfortunately for you, that's how it goes.
So
and they love each other.
Mango Lemonade. Well, we talked about that for a long time, obviously, about Mango and Lemonade being in a relationship. And so when we tried all these flavors, we were just trying all of them, closing my eyes, not even knowing which flavor was which. I'm like, this is it right here. And it just happened to be Mango Lemonade, man. So that's exactly where we're going with.
Well, they wanted a mango blueberry. I go, nah, we need lemonade.
Lemonade's got to be in there.
They bang each other hard.
Yes, they do. So it'll be available if you're in St. Louis. All major retailers, you won't be able to miss it. They'll have tons of promotions and marketing going on and stuff like that. When you walk into these stores, you'll see it. So support us, support the podcast, and enjoy our new hard seltzer from Four Hands Brewing Company. The Cam Strick Hard Seltzer, Mango Lemonade, baby, coming, I think, this week or next week or something like that. So, again, we'll have that very, very soon.
Yeah, good.
Okay?
Yeah, no, and it's going to be lovely. And you know what else you could do with mango lemonade? By the way, you make cocktails with it. Like
yes, you can.
It's fucking.
You can do a lot of things.
I swear to God, I posted on Facebook, which gets more than anything else,
Yeah.
And Andy's got to jump in on my Facebook thing and be like, "Hey, I'm Andy." Blah, 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 blah. And so my buddies are all like, "Fucking right." They're like, "Mango lemonade," and all the girls are like, "Oh my God, that's sexy." All the girls are like, "Oh my God, that's such a cute cup." I'm like, "Yeah, no shit." And they're like, "This is what I'm gonna fucking take this." You make cocktails with it.
Yeah.
You make cocktails with the mango lemonade.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so you can drink it straight, or you can make cocktails.
I like the carbonation. It actually, like, if I'm,
the women folk love it.
Yes, they do. Well, I got into their hard.
We got 20% women listening to our fucking podcast.
Well, you might. I probably have 60-70% women listening too. When I do my own stuff on the side, I got a lot of women who are listening.
Oh, the women are like, "Oh God, I love Andy when he did that one thing that one time." When you interviewed that one guy, when you interviewed the pro athlete, they don't like me being a pro athlete. They like the guy that interviewed the pro athlete. You're the sexy one.
Who's the best team in the West? Avs, Vegas, Blues, Wild.
Fuck, I think the Blues right now, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Go ahead, give me rapid questions. Go ahead, what do you got?
Well, Troy Terry, he's third in the league in goal scoring right now.
Terry?
I love this dude.
He's a cool cat.
Dude, he was so good playing for USA in the Olympics. You go back to the World Juniors. You go back to what he did at Denver University playing for Jim Montgomery. Monty's our boy.
We love Monty. What up, baby? We love you. Great guy.
Unbelievable guy. And so you knew how good Troy Terry was going to be.
We like these cats,
and he was like a late draft pick, too.
Yeah, we like these cats.
But he was so good before, like, sometimes it just takes a little bit of time, and now he's just tearing it up. Nashville kind of falls in Nashville and Pittsburgh fall in the same category with me. The only difference is Pittsburgh has a winning pedigree, led by 87.
Thank you.
But I just don't know if I'm willing to put them in that Stanley Cup contender category yet.
Man, well, the Blues
are they better than Tampa Bay? Are they better than Florida? Are they better than Carolina?
The Blues haven't lost a game in fucking a month, and they
just lost Pittsburgh. Oh, before that, yeah.
Can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Blues haven't lost a game in a month. They bring Pittsburgh into town, and fucking Crosby gets cross-checked in the face, cuts his fucking face open. It's like, he comes out there and just takes the game over. No, Crosby came out and took the fucking game over. No one else, Crosby, individually, came out of the locker room after getting zipped up for 7, comes out, takes the whole game over, loses the game. One person.
But did you have a problem with what
One
Nico Mikkola did?
No.
I like that. I like that.
I love
Mikkola.
Nico. I like him. He's a big Finnish kid. He's starting to get pissy. Yeah. He's starting to figure out that I'm a man now.
And here's the difference.
He's 26 years
We've
old.
seen other guys come in who are like, okay, the coaching staff wants me to do this. So
just fucking do it.
This is what this kid is. This is what he's all about.
Just
this is his pedigree. He's always played that way at every level he's been at.
Can I give you an example?
So what we're seeing from Mikkola, people need to get to know Nico Mikkola. He didn't have a great game in the Winter Classic, but he's had a lot of good games.
Matter.
Okay?
He's been good.
This
really
guy's
good.
legit, and his toughness, and in terms of the aggressiveness, I shouldn't say toughness.
Stopping
his aggressiveness is legit.
Getting guys out of the way.
It's genuine.
It's not punchy touch.
No,
he
it's
just punched
genuine.
Crosby. His fight.
But Tom Wilson, he didn't back down.
No,
he's not going to fight Tom Wilson. Like, whatever.
100% right on that. You're 100% right on that. Here's what Nico Mikkola does, by the way. 2 in the corner. He had the puck one time. This is hard to describe, by the way.
Well, you're not a very good analyst. That's part of it. So.
Well, I don't get hired to be one. I don't give a fuck. I don't need to do a goddamn thing. I just need to do my podcast and my radio show. That's all I care about. So Nico Mikkola was in the corner one time. The puck's getting rimmed around. He takes it with his 15 feet range. Takes the puck, opens his hips up, has the puck in his left hand, scoops it up to his right hand, and all in a matter of seconds took the puck from 20 feet away to 25 feet away the other side and gets the puck out of zone. It's hard to explain on what the fuck that means, but he did it all very succinctly, and it just was one motion, and he makes the puck because he's 6'6", and he learned how to protect his body, taking the puck, taking a hit. Oh, it's just the weirdest thing in the world. I'm like, only a guy 6'6" that knows how to do that would be able to do that.
Somebody tried to tell me over the weekend that like Yanni Hakanpää is better than like Nico Mikkola. I had to text a Hall of Fame player. I said, "Can you help me settle this?" And he said Mikkola all day long. I'm like, "Thank you."
I ain't fucking with that kid.
No, and I think it's changed the Blues' attitude towards what they might need to do at the trade deadline. They still may add a defenseman.
Andy, they're going to need a horse.
Yeah, they still may add somebody.
They're going to need a horse.
But in terms of what they need, I mean, they got something here now in this kid. Bobby Clarke on this edition of the Cam Strick podcast. We've got to get to Bobby. Unbelievable interview. And again, I want to tell people this, so stick with it, because it starts a little bit slow. You know, we don't know each other that well.
Now we do.
Yeah, now we do.
We're besties.
Yeah, exactly. So it's... So it just takes a little bit. So sometimes when you do these interviews with people who you don't know that well, you got to like shoot the shit for a little bit before you get into the meat of some stuff, and kind of gain that trust and have that, connection. And then you can ask some questions and really get into it. So stick with it, man, and you will not be disappointed in the one and only Bobby Clarke.
He's a fucking man. Totally cool. If you just look at like hardcore
Do you wish
hockey,
you played in that era?
Fuck no. Oh, fuck would I want to play in that? Make up $40,000? Oh,
that's true.
Get the fuck out of here. I lived in I played in the best era possible, dude, in my opinion. Right before.
Towards the tail end of the best era.
Yeah, because of the beginning.
90s was the best.
In my case, is a forechecker, not having that hold up fucking hook and clutch was the best thing for me, dude.
Correct. No red line. Did you play with the red line?
Fuck no.
No.
Just like getting in a forecheck was just so easy. Yeah. I crushed guys.
I've got some analytics on forechecking too. If you want me to break something down.
Sometimes like when you don't know the game, you have to
who's one
break
of the best
down
forecheckers?
analytics to act like you know the game.
Matthew Tkachuk's one of the best forecheckers.
Well, no shit.
I love the forecheckers.
Oh, is that like a surprise?
If I'm a coach or a GM, that's one stat I'm looking at.
Andy,
I want the damn.
No
I want
shit.
the damn four. I want the guys who go get the puck.
Who the fuck doesn't? What coach is like, meh, we don't like forecheckers. We like the non-forecheckers. We like the perimeter players. Get on with yourself.
Get on. So, anyway, real quick, go back to Bobby Clarke.
Oh, he's great.
And he said something that he does. I told a Hall of Fame player this morning who played in Philly.
Can I guess who it is?
Go ahead.
Prongs?
Yeah. I said, good guess. Did a really good sit down with him. You'll see it later on this week.
Yeah.
I said, hey, we just had Bobby Clarke on. We should have asked him about Prongs, too.
Dude, there's a million things.
I know. You can't talk to him for 3 hours.
I asked him a stupid question.
You know what he said?
What?
When I said we had Bobby Clarke on, he starts, his loud laugh. He goes, he doesn't give a fuck.
He don't give a fuck. He's like,
that's what Prong said.
Hey, you know what's a good interview whenever Bobby goes, yeah, I think I'm talking too much.
I'm probably talking too much.
But what do I
care? We love that. So anyway, Bobby Clarke, man, on this edition, a true icon. I mean, we say that, we throw that around.
You know what?
This guy's an icon.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. if you get a current player on and he says, I think I'm talking too much, we got a problem. Because I don't want to get guys in trouble.
And we don't want guys to feel like they
Bobby
can't come on.
fucking Clarke, it don't goddamn matter. He doesn't talk to anybody. He golfs every fucking day. He doesn't give a shit.
Every day.
He golfs every fucking day with non-hockey players. He gets treated like royalty down in Florida. Does his goddamn thing. So if he wants to say something shitty about somebody,
paid by the
who
Flyers,
gives a fuck? But if it's some current player that's we're going to put him in a jam, we ain't doing it.
No.
It's not worth it.
I'm with
Just
you.
so people know
I'm
that.
with you. All right, Cam Strick Podcast brought to you by Hair Club. Of course, 1,200 locations throughout North America. Get there today. Hey, go to our landing page, hairclub.com/Cam and Strick. Check that out. It's got our logo on there. It's very cool. Just go to the landing page. Schedule your appointment from there. You're going to save $250. I mean, that's a lot of change. Schedule your first consultation, your first appointment. Book it from our landing page, hairclub.com/Cam and Strick. What is it?
Hairclub.com/Cam and Strick.
Thank you. 800-279-7878. 800-279-7878. You can call them. Be sure to mention us when you call them. We love our friends over there at Hair Club. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of solutions. Hundreds of thousands of solutions. All right. Carshield.com. Mention that promo code CAM. So embarrassing.
2 million people they serve.
Oh, my God. Can we give them a shout out? Nick and Stevie?
Stevie, love you guys. You guys do so much for this town. We love both of you guys. You guys work your ass off.
No, the
Cutest
country,
kids
all
in the
over.
world. You guys, yeah, but that 100%. But this specific,
they're national.
I know. But as far as this town and youth hockey, they're everywhere. They support the youth.
Yes.
They spend money.
Yes.
We love you guys.
Yeah, 2 million
best.
customers.
You're the best of the best, dude.
Remember how restaurants used to say that, like a million customers, not two,
like
2
fucking
million.
McDonald's. Like, yeah, and you probably killed half of them. You're saving lives doing
My
this
kids
shit.
have never had McDonald's ever.
Good, Andy. Honestly,
Yeah.
I chirp you for a lot of stuff because you're kind of goofy at times. But your kids, they don't need to eat fucking McDonald's.
No, never
they
had
don't.
it.
Get them some good fucking homemade fried chicken or something greasy that way.
Oh yeah.
Well, you don't eat meat. Okay, so
they'll do some
fried.
they'll do some
fried.
They'll do some
kale.
like Chick-fil-A or something like that. You know.
Oh, they'll eat You let them eat Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Good.
It's much better for
They got
you.
to put some fucking meat on here.
Dude.
Right? Come on, Andy. Like,
I'm like
Ryan or I wasn't like this until like 2 years ago when he already had 40 in the bank.
Steiner,
Go fuck
Paul
yourself.
Stastny. all
Steiner
these
wasn't
guys.
like this until he made fucking $80 million. Get on with yourself.
All those guys.
Now they are.
What do I have?
they don't need-
What do I have in common?
Yeah,
Who do I have something in common with? Steiner, Stastny, Ryan
You
O'Reilly.
don't have anything in common with anybody. Andy.
Anyway, CarShield and carshield.com. You never know when shit's going to go down. And when it does, make sure you have that protection from CarShield. 800-257-2481. Mention that promo code CAM, and you're going to save 10%. You have anything to add to that?
I don't know.
Like your
It's
alternator,
easy.
your engine?
Well, bullshit goes down, dude. And all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah,
man.
I know.
And all of
I
a sudden
know.
you call them up and you're like, where do you want to go? Like, I'll pick this place. It's right on the
hear
road. And you go there.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yes,
You
it
want to
is.
simplify your life? That's what you do.
I'm with
Come
you.
on.
All right, Bellman.com, BEHLMANN.com. Get out there to Troy, Missouri, and get out there today, please, and say hi to Danny and Kenny and Dale
Hi.
and all the other salespeople out there who are not.
Swinging dicks. I'll say it. Swinging dicks. Who the fuck wants to deal with that shit? Oh, hey, come on in here. They swing it around.
Right, yeah.
Come on over here, girl. Go fuck yourself.
Right, I know.
Weirdo.
So, anyway, we love our friends over there at Bellman, man. Again, they're out there in Troy. They've got the Buick GMC. I'm looking at that GMC Denali very, very closely.
You know what I want.
I know what you want.
I want that
you
shit
want the
kicker.
diesel.
I want that shit.
The other
kicker.
side of the street. You got to go to the other side of the street.
I
Cam
will.
goes to the other side. The Chrysler Dodge Jeep
That's
Ram.
where the shit
A lot of
kickers
people
go.
are over there.
That's what the shit.
I'm looking at that Jeep Wrangler for the spring too. By the
What
way,
are you, a high school girl?
there's nothing wrong. They're super nice, dude. They drive like cars now.
Wait, what?
They're beautiful, and you know that.
Oh, okay.
By the way, it's my daughter Chloe's
Okay.
birthday today. Give her a shout out, dude. She's 11 today.
No. Oh, boy, gave her a shout out. I saw that.
did?
John Kelly did.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
did.
he did.
On TV
I'll
last
say
night.
it.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. I
know.
even said something on your wife's fucking.
Oh, did you?
I acknowledge
That was
your
nice,
wife,
dude. Thank you.
Somebody's got to.
I do.
And he's worried all night long. He's just like, I'll acknowledge your wife.
Yeah, I acknowledge
Poor
her.
girl.
Plenty. Absolutely.
Not what I heard.
Oh, really?
I'm just joking.
God.
No, she posted that, and I follow her on Facebook, and I'm like, that's the cutest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you, John Kelly.
Yeah.
She deserves. Chloe's
Yeah,
the cutest goddamn thing in the world,
And Panger, too.
and she'll shit kick you.
Yes, she will.
She doesn't look like you. Or
No?
have the attitude.
Oh, then she
No.
looks just like me.
Nah.
Dude, if you saw pictures of me as a kid.
She's got an attitude. No, she's got a little toughness in her, and I'm like, I don't know if that's. I'm just saying. She goes after the ball.
Yeah,
she does her shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
It's tough.
one area we have in common.
Do you? You went after the ball?
Oh, absolutely.
No,
Absolutely.
you didn't.
And
You were hanging out like, what do I need for you guys? Do I need water, anybody?
so Ty's team went 4-0 yesterday, by the way, and so it got a little
They had
physical.
4 games?
They played 4 games.
Jesus
It's 12-minute
Christ.
games, though. Like,
Okay,
he's,
that's not
you know,
bad.
First
That's
year
not bad.
he's 5
No,
years
okay.
old. So they're going at it with another team. Like, it got physical, and I'm just like, I just let it
Let
go.
it go, Andy.
And I'm like, you know what? The competitiveness, the desire, the will, that comes from within. It's not a coaching
No, I get you. No doubt.
technique. So you just kind of, unless they're like doing something that crosses the line, swinging their sticks or stuff like that, that's when you step in. Coach on the other team kind of said, hey, you know, like came over to one of our kids. It wasn't Ty, another kid. Said, hey, you know, start
that's
going
a
for the
good
puck,
thing.
whatever. I'm like, whatever. So then they're coming off the ice. The other team's mad and says to our team, you guys are stupid.
Ooh.
Well, Ty was pissed.
Oh, good.
He is pissed off.
He'd
He's
say,
not.
He'd say, I'll fucking bag all
He
you
was
cats
like
up.
this guy. He's like, you know, he's like, we're gonna kick your butt or something like that. You
Say,
know, he goes and tells the other coach. He wants to go
I'm
tell
gonna
the
take
other
your daughter
coach.
out.
No,
Show her a good
he
time.
wanted to tell the other coach what he said. I'm like, Ty, we don't do that. It's all good, man. Whatever
Ty's
happens
gonna
on
be
the
wheeling
ice
their
stays on
chicks
the
in no
ice.
time, dude.
What happens on the ice stays on the ice. Can't take it personal. But that's what happened in the game. The Better Business Bureau, Cam. BBB, the Better Business Bureau. Again, 314-645-3300. You can go to bbb.org. Where do you turn when you're looking for an honest business, Cam? You go to the BBB. They've been reviewing companies for over 100 years. When you go to bbb.org, BBB stands for what? or Better Business Bureau. You can find easy-to-use consumer tips for every situation, like buying a car, looking for a mortgage, understanding your cell phone contract, which you have no idea, Cam. You don't understand your cell phone contract at all.
Fuck no. My wife does that
and
shit.
much, much more. And the information on other online review sites has been verified and accurate. Like, how do you know? Well, you don't. That's why you go to the BBB. Great
I don't want
people.
to stay in that fucking hotel with bed
Yeah,
bugs
right.
because the bed bugs will get you. They'll get you, Andy.
Yeah.
I don't deal with that.
So you got to use the Better Business Bureau to research a business before spending your hard-earned money, and we mean that. So again, we love our friends over there with the BBB. Check them out, bbb.org. They've got thousands and thousands of online review sites that have been verified and is accurate, plus reviews of thousands of charities. Mango, to help you make wise donations when you're giving money to charities. 24/7 available, bbb.org. They are someone you can trust to find the companies that you trust. All right. I do, on a serious note, want to give a shout-out to this young kid out of Connecticut, Teddy.
Oh, God.
Okay?
I know.
I mean, and the family. We are thinking about the family. We're thinking about anybody who had any connection with this kid, any parent out there who has a youth hockey player. This is the worst case scenario, nightmare you could ever think of, and it truly is the unthinkable. And we're thinking about this family, man. So again, I'm sorry to the family that this happened, and it's such a freak accident. You don't see it very often, hardly at all. You know, I don't know what else you want to add, man, but we're thinking about that family.
Look, it's just bizarre things happen, and it's a contact sport. I don't know the details on it, but that poor kid, just a cute kid, man, and it's just tough.
Well,
That was tough.
I believe it came from a skate
slash,
or something like
just
that.
kind
You know?
of
So,
touched
again, just kind of a freak incident. So he's a cute kid, man, just a beautiful kid. And
we're thinking of you and the family, man. We are.
And, you know, so anyway.
Well, Daredevil Hockey will help.
Daredevil Hockey will help. But I had a lot of people
know.
reach out to me, actually, who said, hey, what's the name of that company? I'm not messing around anymore. And this is kind of, and I'm not sitting here trying to capitalize with one of our sponsors off of a horrific, tragic event. But Cam and I are not kidding, even though we have a lot of fun on this podcast, when we talk about the danger of skate lacerations. It's a very serious thing. And when I say every single episode that it's the number one cause of emergency room visits among youth hockey players, I am telling the truth. It is, and it can be scary. Make sure you are protecting your kids when they're out there. I don't know if they would have protected this young kid because it happened in an area where maybe it's uncovered, but there's a lot of areas that it does cover, upper extremities, lower extremities, where you can just kind of have that peace of mind knowing your child is taken care of and protected out there on the ice.
Yeah, man.
Use that promo code Cam and Strick. It's all caps, and it'll save you 25%. And again, I just want to throw that out there in terms of what we have with our sponsor. All right, let's get to Bobby Clarke.
Let's go, dude.
Truly an icon, and joined us on this edition of the Cam Strick podcast. Enjoy Bobby Clarke. The Cam Strick podcast is brought to you by Car Shield. Nothing more frustrating, Cam, than when that engine light comes on and right off the bat you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars to repair your vehicle. Call 800-857-2481. Mention the promo code CAM or visit carshield.com and use the code CAM to save 10%. Yeah. That's carshield.com. A deductible may apply. Save yourself money. Sign up and get your coverage now with carshield.com. Now to the interview.
Good morning.
Clarke.
What's going on, man?
Same old, all right. How are you guys?
Doing good,
good. We're freezing our ass off. Are you in Florida?
Yes, Sarasota.
Oh, there you go. A lot of former players around there. Who you hanging out with? Any NHL guys, or you got business friends? Who you playing golf with?
No, I'm in a community that's got a couple golf courses that all the people who play are all friends, but none of them are ex-NHL. Scotty Bowman's down here, Billy Barber, I think Larry Robinson, but I don't see those people very often. I see Barber, but I don't see Jacques Lemaire's here. There's quite a few in this area.
Bobby, when you show up to play golf and you've got three other people, whatever, who you don't know, do you take the teeth out? Do you wear the teeth when you golf or no?
Well, they're in there permanently now.
Andy. It's not taking those
you can't take them out? Okay.
Nope.
Whose decision was that to make them permanent? Bobby, you got to be able to take those things out. That's legendary.
Actually, when I told the doctor when I was done playing, just pull all my teeth out and give me 2 full plates. Of course, the doctors wouldn't do that. They said that we don't do that kind of stuff anymore. So we started permanently putting them in. It took a while, but...
Yeah,
well you got a great smile, Bobby,
you
just
do.
so you know.
Hey, listen, I'm just curious, though. How'd you lose the teeth? Was there, one instance where they just, all of a sudden they popped out and the legendary Bobby Clarke smile was born?
It just started in junior. Twice in practice, I played in Flin Flon, and twice in practice I got hit, and one tooth at a time, and then a couple times in the NHL I got hit with a puck once and a stick once, and there's only 4. The 4 front teeth were gone, but there was 4 separate incidents, and none of them were painful really or anything. I mean, I didn't get hit with something that broke my jaw or anything. Just what happened in those days. No mouth guards, no shields, no nothing.
Yeah, well, every time you watch a shift, if you go back, there's some highlights. How can you not break your jaw every single shift back in the day with those tree trunk sticks that they had, high sticks everywhere? How do you not get injured every game?
Well, it was obviously a hugely different game. You were taught from the time you were a young player how to protect yourself and, not to get yourself in a position where someone is going to be able to hurt you. And I kind of mastered that position where I could protect myself. Lots of players never did, and lots of players got hurt, but you were expected to look out for yourself on the ice. And, nobody called the league up when you got nailed to try to get you suspended or something.
Bobby, can you believe Cam played 10 years, never lost a tooth? I mean, how soft is Cam Jansen? Yeah. Never lost a tooth.
Yeah.
I got strong teeth, Bobby. It is what it is.
I understand.
And I wore a mouthpiece, too, by the way.
Yeah, maybe that helps. Flin Flon, man. I love it when you say Flin Flon. I need to know, what's going down in Flin Flon. I need to know, could I survive Cam in Flin Flon? What?
No, you can, Andy. You're pretty boy.
What goes on in Flin Flon? Tell us about, life for Bobby Clarke growing up. Did you fall in love with the game at a young age?
Yeah, as long as I can remember, I skated as soon as we could walk. There's no television in those days. I'm 72, so we're going back a long time. We didn't have television, and everybody played hockey on the outdoor ice, and I wasn't any better than any other neighborhood kids coming through. And then it was a mining town, lots of kids, loads of kids. We had lots of hockey, lots of leagues, lots of baseball in the short summers, and it was a great place to grow up. Yeah, I don't want the cold anymore, but in those days, the cold didn't bother us.
Yeah, no one wants the cold anymore, I'll tell you that. But growing up with diabetes, though, like, explain that to people, like what you had to go through, especially at that time, and like what was your regiment like, and did it force you to kind of be disciplined with what you eat and how you take care of your body?
Yeah, I was about 12, I guess, when I got diabetes, and insulin-dependent diabetes. At that time in Flin Flon, I may have been the only person who had it. So I really, other than the doctors, I didn't have anybody to ask questions of. And the doctors put you on a diet, and my mom was strict on following it. And you still had to balance out the insulin you took and the calories you took in, and you had to do all those things, but you didn't have any way of checking your blood sugars or anything else. You were on your own pretty much, looking after yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you hear now like Max Domi. I mean, these guys, BJ Crombeen, Luke Connon, who we know real well, who plays in Nashville. I mean, these guys they're all getting to the NHL, and having no issues whatsoever. What's the story though? Like, and I want to get into how they passed you over in the draft, but your first training camp, like you collapsed on the ice, Bobby. Like, how scary of a situation was that? Like, describe it.
Yeah, that never happened.
What
happened was, no, sorry, but it wasn't quite that dramatic.
Give us the embellished version. Like, dramatize it for us, Bobby.
You know how it is.
Yeah, training camp was in Quebec City, and I was on the morning shift at 10 o'clock or something, and we slept in, whoever my roommate was. We got up a little late, so I skipped breakfast, which I knew I shouldn't have done, but I was more afraid of being late for practice. And went through practice, and in the taxi on the way home, my blood sugar went down, and I flaked out. So they took, in fact, I was getting driven by one of the other players. Anyways, they just took me right to the hospital, and they knew, the doctors and nurses in Quebec City knew right away, and put sugar into my blood, and after that I was okay. It never happened again, though.
Oh yeah, that story is not nearly as exciting as what I read, that you collapsed.
No.
Funny how that works.
Tell me you've heard that though, Bobby. Like, that is like the urban legend that you like collapsed on the ice in your first training camp.
Yeah, it wasn't quite that dramatic, I'll guarantee you.
Well, Jerry Melnick, he kind of like tried to convince Philly to draft you earlier, and like he kind of like did his research on diabetes and things like that. Like, explain what he tried to do for you to try to, get the word out that you could still be an athlete and be a pro athlete and cope with diabetes.
Yeah, Jerry Melnick and I became really, really good friends after I had quit playing and was managing. He scouted for me for a long time. And Jerry, he has actually been traded from St. Louis to Philadelphia, and in his first training camp in Philly had a heart attack. So he retired, and the Flyers made him a Western scout. And in those days, there weren't very many Western scouts. It was just getting started in scouting, and Jerry saw me play a lot. I played in Flin Flon, and he was in Edmonton, so he saw me play a lot. And when the draft come up, he kept telling the Flyers, you got to draft this Clarke kid. He'll be the best player on your team. And of course, the ignorance of everybody at that time, I'm not calling them ignorant, but nobody knew nothing about diabetes. The saying was he would never be tough enough to play in the NHL if he's got diabetes. Well, shit, I just played 3 years in Flin Flon. A lot tougher there than in the NHL. There was no airplanes flying us around in Flin Flon. But anyways, the owner, Mr. Snyder, was at the draft, and he was sitting there, and he heard Jerry keep bringing my name up. So he called a doctor in Philadelphia who was a diabetic specialist. And the doctor said to him, sure, he can play in the NHL. As long as he looks after himself. He's got, obviously, to take care of himself. But if he does that, diabetes won't stop him from playing. So the Flyers drafted me in the second round.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, baby.
I mean, I can't believe these other teams would just pass on you. But again, it's a different time back then. Just not sure about the medical situation. Like, was it an instant marriage though between you and Philadelphia? Like the first time you went there, you felt like, wow, this is going to be home for me for a long time, and I'm going to love it here. Like, what were your initial thoughts of Philly?
Well, I was scared to death of a city that size. I'd never been close to a city that size. You know, the biggest city I'd been to was Winnipeg, and I think in those days was probably under 500,000. I never lived there or nothing, just went there to play hockey. So all of the traffic and the people and everything was a little bit intimidating. But in some ways, I guess it was good because it narrowed my life down to just playing hockey. Go to the rink, play hockey, go to the practice rink, play hockey, go home. So I think in some ways it helped.
Yeah, but Philly, it's a tough town. You know, it's old school. And when you did play for the first couple times, you're cruising around the ice, and the fans are going crazy. They love your style. Like, explain that. Like, explain the fans in Philly. Even at that time, when you're first getting in, like they were still pretty intense back then too, right? Yeah,
we weren't selling the building out when, like, I was the third year after the first expansion, so we were still 7,000-8,000 people a game, 10 maybe some on a good night. But it was starting to come, and we were a team that had really good goaltending. We had Perront and Doug Favell, and then they traded Perront, but we hadn't started to get good yet. We're sort of treading water. And then some of our younger players, I guess about the third year, their fourth year, maybe we brought in Schultz and Selke and traded for DuPont. And all of a sudden, we were not getting pushed around anymore. We weren't a little team. We were a big team, and with a couple of extremely aggressive players. So we were a team that was on the attack, and Keith Allen traded for McClish, and he brought in Reggie Leach and some real stars for our team. And you know, we were the most physical team and the most fighting team in the league in those days. And some teams resented it. Some teams were scared to death of us. But for our organization, it lasted about 20 years. You know, that we were always going to be tough.
Yeah, it did.
So what's the story with, because, like, listen, everyone knows about the Broad Street Bullies, but, like, even growing up here in St. Louis, like, everyone knew about the story of the Blues players going into the stands.
Bobby.
In Philadelphia, and Bobby Plager, these guys getting arrested after the game. Is it really true that, like, the Blues, the way they played, how physical they were, maybe even bullied you guys, that's what led to the mentality of the Philadelphia Flyers becoming the Broad Street Bullies and having to kind of change the way you guys played and bring in some real toughness?
Absolutely. That's the Blues and the Flyers played in the playoffs, and the Blues had Plagers and Picard and some really tough players. And I wasn't there at the time. It was first year of expansion or second year, and the Blues physically beat the crap out of the Flyers. And the owner of the Flyers at the time, Ed Snyder, said, we might get beat on the ice, but we're never going to get beat up like that again physically. And that's when he went out and started accumulating a lot of tough players. And it paid off.
Yeah, it did. Oh, you guys are so – well, you play with a purpose, though, too, right? I mean, like, yeah, you got Schulte doing his thing. You guys are very intimidating. You hit. You're mean. You're aggressive. But you still play with a purpose. And, like, even for you, Like, you watch your highlights, like, you got a lot of, like, the puck just came to you. You're standing in front of the net. You're kind of bumping into the goal. You always found a way to get a rebound in front of the net. Like, is that just pure instinct? Like, how do you know where to be on the ice?
Well, that's an instinct of knowing where to go on the ice, and nobody had better instincts than Wayne Gretzky. I wasn't even close to that. But what we had, we were the first team that had a coach who brought in a style of game for the players we had that would work for us. And our positioning, like when I went on the ice, and I played a lot of my career with Billy Barber and Reggie Leach or Cowboy Flett, I knew where they would be all the time. They knew where I'd be all the time. We knew where our defense was going to be all the time. And prior to that, coaching was just, send the players to the American League and tell them, learn them so they learn how to play. And when they bring up, you just have a ex-player coaching changing lines. And Kyrou started the system play, and Al Arbor, who also came out of St. Louis and went to the island, he duplicated it. He had a different system, but he had and he had great players. And they did the same thing, and they won 4 cups. But they played a great style of game for everybody to be involved in and for everybody to help. And good top coaches have played that way ever since. The game that everybody gets to contribute on the team. Everybody's strengths are put in a position where they can help the team. It's not just changing lines.
Yeah, and that's what the best teams have in the game even today. I mean, everybody's contributing.
Absolutely.
So, all right, listen, and I've heard Gretzky say this, that, when he was a young kid, like, he would watch you play, like, in terms of studying your game and saying you're one of the first centers who would operate out of the corner. And, of course, Gretzky did that forever and played a lot below the goal line, behind the net, using the net as a shield, if you will, to kind of, like, defend, and be able to hang on to the puck below the goal line and whatever. Were you aware of that? And, like, what was your relationship with Gretzky? How much time have you spent with him over the years?
I'd heard about that later, but I played against Wayne maybe the last 3 years of my career. And I wouldn't say I know him well, but I've got to talk to him quite a few times, and I know him some. I personally believe that he was the best player ever in the game. And I know if you said or, I wouldn't argue with you, but the way I seen him play and the things I seen him do on the ice and stuff were just incredible. A guy like even Gordy in his era by far the best, but he also had, Gordy was big and tough and strong. Wayne didn't have that. Like, Wayne was slight, but his brain was so far ahead of the rest of us, man. At least that's the way I saw it. He was just brilliant.
So, like, the way you would operate, though, on the power play, like, out of the corner, like, was that something that other guys around the league, like, they just weren't doing? Like, where'd that come from?
I have no idea. Kyrou was, again, probably Kyrou's coaching, at least using, he gave us the right on the attack to use the whole ice. Just make sure that one guy was back in defensive position. You could chase the puck. You could do things. And if your job is to chase the puck and get it, and you happen to be behind the goal line, well, if you just work to get the damn thing, don't throw it away. Find somebody to pass it to. So you learn to use the whole ice as you're allowed to play.
He was a great coach. Recorded document of you talking about Kyrou, and I think there's one time where you said you walked in the locker room at 9 o'clock in the morning. He's smoking a dart, watching highlights, drinking a Budweiser, and you're like, but was he good? Yeah. Like, explain how, like, what kind of coach he was and how he kind of motivated you guys through all that, how he how you became a leader, probably from stuff that he did.
It's I don't really know how to describe how he did it, but he was quiet, introverted person who never ever gave anybody shit. Nobody ever got heck. And with hindsight, I think that's the way coaches are supposed to. Giving somebody shit doesn't make them a better player.
Mm-hmm. No
Cheryl's seen his job as making everybody better for the team and got them playing with the right guys, and then of course it builds up to his the Flyers against the world. The refs hate us. Sometimes our own GM trades our players and hates us. You know, he had us so unified that everybody was against us, which, I mean, other teams wanted to beat us, but when you look back, it's a method that a lot of good coaches have used. Everybody's against us. We'll beat them. We'll show them. And it gives you a unifying, something to unify you. And everybody who came to Philadelphia, we used to get players in trades. Within a week or two, they were the same as we were, doing the same things. And what we found out was after, you know, we traded Davy Schultz, we traded Don Selke, we traded these players, and they never had the same success going somewhere else because of they didn't have the same coaching, they didn't have the same type of team mentality where they were going. Have you seen, I think we could honestly say the Devils did the same thing under Lemaire. All those players that, you know, had they kept that team together, they might have won 4 or 5 cups. But Hollick went to the Rangers. Of course, he got $9 million, but he was never any good after that.
Yep, you're right.
Scotty Gomez went to Montreal. Never any good. They were great players in New Jersey when they had that team and they were all relied on each other.
Yeah, Niedermeyer.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. I mean, obviously some guys, you know, Niedermeyer was one of those guys. I mean, he's a generational type player, but you're right. Like, what was that like? Like, you knew that teams who came into Philadelphia were scared shitless, right? I mean, they were scared. Like, what was the main intimidating factor that you guys possessed that scared the shit out of other teams?
Well, I don't know how to answer that. You know, if you ever look at our team, I don't know why teams would have been physically afraid of us. They were like Barber wasn't a fighter, Leach wasn't a fighter, Clarke wasn't a fighter, McClish wasn't, Dornhofer wasn't, Lonsbury wasn't. That's our top 2 lines. Kinderchuk could fight, but he was a good, honest hockey player, but he didn't fight much. Schultz and Selke fought. Clements didn't fight. Bob Kelly fought. You know, DuPont would fight. He wasn't a great fighter, but he's tough and he was a good player. The 2 Watson brothers, terrific team guys, and Jimmy was a great player. Joey was a good player. And Eddie Van, we didn't have a loaded arsenal of tough guys. We stuck together though, and I think more than anything, the reputation seemed to scare teams, whereas it probably should have been our talent. We had a lot of talent on those teams that scared teams more than the physical part.
No, well, actually, it's probably, you know, just the mentality of you being a leader, talking in the locker. I mean, like, it's just, you don't have to have the toughest team in the league. You just have to have the right leaders that just motivate you the right way.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Not to mention the intimidation factor. Yeah. Like, if you have that reputation, people that's when you go to a certain building, you're like, this is going to be scary. No matter if they have the tough guys or not, it's always in your head. Hey, but let me get to this. I think, what year was this, Andy?
72.
72. You know, Russia and U.S. are having a big dick contest, of course, and they come over for some exhibition games. They're slaughtering everybody. Then they get to you. You guys were the big boys going on, And it wasn't 72. No, this was 70.
76 was the Canada Cup, but 72 was the Summit
76.
Series.
This is
4 or
76.
5, 75, I think.
Yeah, okay. So you guys just win. You're the big boys on the block. The last ones to play. I'm like, you're going into this game. What would you guys say in the locker room before the game, leading into you guys playing Russia? Like, what was said and what was your mentality?
Kyrou had spent a lot of time in Russia with Tarasov, the czar of Russian hockey. So he knew them very well. I had played against them in 72, and I knew them very well. So the idea, the Soviet style of game in there was, they might have the puck at your blue line, and then they'd pass it back to the red line and back to their own blue line and keep good control of the puck but go nowhere. So we knew this was coming, and we just basically, Kyrou said, just wait. Let them bring the puck to you. They've got to bring it to you. So they passed it around and passed it around. It looked pretty, but nobody was doing any checking, and all of a sudden they start trying to get into our zone, and we got 5 guys waiting and banged them a few times, and then they got frustrated, and it was really a very easy game to play that night. The score, I think, was 4-1, but it could have been 8-1. I don't know if they had 15 shots. They just
14.
weren't prepared.
Their goalie played awesome. Trechek played awesome. Sick.
Bobby, it reminds me, it's actually one of your former players, and I'm not going to mention who it was, but he was a scout. And one day we were watching a game in the press box, and he said, just watch PK Subban. He goes, watch him skate around, and then tell me what he actually just did. He said, just watch.
Nothing.
Yeah. He said,
Slew foot.
Watch him for 45 seconds here. He skates for everything looks pretty, but what did he actually accomplish? It's kind of funny that you said that. But,
yeah.
All right, so I want to get to one story, though, right? Because the urban legend again, man. I mean, John Ferguson Sr., did he truly call you over and tell you to go slash Valery Karlarmov? Because you did slash him, you said, and you injured him. He didn't play the rest of the whatever, the series or whatever you guys want to call it when you were playing against Russia. And this is when you're playing with the Philadelphia Flyers. What's the real story there? Did he ask you to do that? Because you can tell us now. We only get the real stories on here, Bobby.
What happened? It was a violent series. It was in 72. The NHL players against the Soviets, and we didn't have a war. And Bobby Hull had went to the World Hockey and stuff. So, but we arrogantly thought we were better than them, and we weren't. But it was a violent series, and I played a lot against Harlamov, and he was a pretty good little player. He kind of stuck me going back into our end, and I circled around, and he come back the other side heading into his end, and I come up behind him, and I just two-handed him across the ankle. And he didn't play anymore in that series, but what happened was Paul Henderson, years and years later, come out and said that he told his grandson never do what that Clarke did. And so immediately what happened is John Ferguson, who was a terrific guy and obviously a great team player, he come out and said, I told Clarke to do that. He didn't, but he tried to take the heat off of what Henderson said about me doing it.
So was Henderson and were they critical of what you did though? Like I didn't understand why some of your teammates would be critical of like basically taking out their best player.
No shit.
Yeah, well, no, that was I don't know, 15 years later that he said it. I mean, no, most of them Esposito said, "Why the hell didn't you do it in the first game?" So, but no, the players didn't. I wasn't complimented for it, or I wasn't criticized. But Henderson criticized me. And he called me up later. Again, we're talking 15 or 20 years after the series. And he calls me up and says, well, I was just using you as an example for my grandson. And I said, Paul, I got a grandson too, You just set a good example. Turned on a teammate. So he hung up.
How about that?
Damn.
And you know what?
His grandson.
And Bobby, I know. Come on now.
Yeah. Settle down.
But you're playing the game, though, and you guys are just, like, physically beating the shit out of the Russians. They leave the ice. Like, they actually leave the ice. What are you guys thinking when they left the ice? Did you know that they would come back out? Because, I mean, again, the story is they were told they weren't getting their $25,000 per game.
$200,000.
I think it was 25,000, right?
200,000 per player.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe, whatever. You can tell us what it was, Bobby. But regardless, they came back out. Did you know they were going to come back out? Like, where did you guys go? Did you stay on the bench? Did you go back to the dressing room? Like, what were you guys doing when they left the ice?
Yeah, they weren't off for very long, and I don't think we went to the locker room. I don't quite recall. I think we just stayed out there. But our feeling was, as players, that they were going to come back. Players don't quit. I mean, sometimes you think players quit, but players don't want to quit. So it's obviously their coaches and their managers or whoever they had running their team pulled them off. And they were told, I think it was 50,000 they were getting for that game. They were just told, well, Ed Snyder, our owner, just went in and told him, we won't get you 50 grand if you don't get back out there and play. So they come back out pretty quick.
Funny how that works, eh?
Yeah. Management didn't mind embarrassing the players.
But
they certainly didn't want to be without their 50 grand.
No shit. And then they went out there and it was like, you guys just had the puck the whole time. They're like, yeah, whatever.
Did you guys shake hands after the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Russian players, I got to know quite a few of them over the years. And, at the beginning of the 70s, it was the Cold War and everybody hated the commies and all that shit. But what you found out was the Russian hockey players were the same as the Canadian players, who were the same as the Swedes, the Finns, and hockey players were just players. They weren't complicated. They didn't have anything to do with politics or nothing. They just wanted to play hockey, same as we did.
Exactly.
And a lot of us, I knew Vladislav Tretiak pretty well over the years. He'd been to my house, and we'd done some things together. And, some of those guys I played against and stuff. Yakashev and a few of them, we all went out for drinks and stuff. They were no different than we were.
No. So they're drinking crushing vodka.
They're crushing vodka. You guys are drinking
Straight
beers.
Vodka.
They're drinking vodka.
They're drinking Wolf Schmidt vodka.
Yeah.
for breakfast. The Cam Strick podcast is brought to you by Bellman and Bellman.com. BEHLMANN.com. Get out there to Detroit, Missouri. Check it out. On one side, you got the Buick, the GMC. Options for everybody. Then right across the street, you got the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Again, find something that works for you and get yourself a new set of wheels in time for the winter. Now, back to the interview. Hey, so, listen, okay, you win your cups, whatever, 3-time Hart Trophy winner, all that, established player, and then you become like a player coach, which would never happen in today's game. I mean, what was that like? You're sitting next to your teammates. Now all of a sudden you're a coach. You're in the coaching meetings. You're with the players. You're going out after the games, with the boys and whatever. Like, was that ever uncomfortable for you, or was it pretty easy?
No, it was horrible. Pat Quinn was a great coach, an innovative coach. He did lots of things to change coaching and was really good. And he asked me to be assistant coach, and I was captain and stuff. And I argued with him. I said, no, it's the worst thing you could ever do, Pat. I don't want it. I won't do it. And he kept after me for about 2 weeks. He said, it'll help the team. It'll be good for the team. I mean, he was a bright man, and he knew how to get to me. If it's going to help the team, of course, then I'll do it. But I didn't believe it. And it was at the end of the year, it was, it didn't work. It couldn't have worked. It was bad for the team, bad for all of us.
I think you did it for 3 years, though, didn't you?
No, just one.
Just 1 year. Okay. And then you go back and end up being the
I think it was one, maybe two.
Okay.
But, yeah.
All right.
Not for long.
And then, like, right away, your career ends as a player. And, again, you have a Hall of Fame career, unbelievable, legendary career.
Oh, yeah.
And you step right into becoming a general manager. Like, how quickly after you finished playing did you know that you were going to do that? And, like, even while you were playing, were you preparing yourself mentally to eventually become, like, a manager? Did you know that was going to be your future post-playing career?
No, geez, no. After we got beat out that year, I don't know. I did the same thing every summer. I started training about a week after our season ended. And in those days, I lifted weights and ran and basically did what, by going to the gym, what I thought was good for me. Because not many players were doing that in those days, training off ice and stuff. So anyways, 2 or 3 weeks into it, I get a call from Jay Snyder, who was the president of the Flyers, had taken over from his dad. And he said, "I'd like to talk to you." Sure. So I don't have any clue. And he gets a hotel room now in close to where I live. So we met in this hotel room, and I'm thinking something's fishy going on. Maybe he's trading me, or I don't know. Anyways, he interviews me for about 4 hours. Like, what the hell is going on here? And finally, at the end, he just said to me, "We'd like you to be our GM." I said, "Holy Christ." I said, "I don't know about that. I wanted to keep playing." So he said, "Well, take some time and think about it and let me know." So I went home for, I guess I took about a week. I kept thinking, I want to keep playing. I don't want to sit behind a desk. And then you think, well, the team has made a decision that it's time to move on from Bob Clarke. Even though I could still play, I wasn't the player I was. But are you going to be selfish and take care of yourself, or do what the team wants you to do? All my success came from being part of the team, being part of the group, being part of the Flyers. And so I figured if they think this is what's right for my career, then I'll do it. But I wasn't ready. And they had J.E. Snyder and Gary Darling, who was an assistant at the time, had interviewed Mike Keenan, who had been coaching in Rochester. So, one day I'm working out, the next day I'm sitting behind a goddamn desk. I'd quit school in the 10th grade. I didn't really like sitting behind desks and stuff. But anyways, here I am, and I'm reading these resumes for coach. And Keenan's I didn't know any coaches. I didn't know a good coach from a bad coach, other than the ones that I had. So we hired Keenan and went to the finals the first year. Keenan did an incredible job. And then, of course, I think the next year, Pelly Lindbergh killed himself in a car accident. And we had goaltender problems. Rangers beat us in the playoffs. And then we went back to the finals with Hextall. So I inherited a really good team. And Keenan was a really good coach. His first year, he was different. But what happened with Mike, and we're friendly since, Mike's ego got so big that it was always the player's fault. When the team didn't win, it was the player's fault. Which we've seen other coaches do that. And you fail. You got to fail. You can't go on like that. You can't think. The coach is never supposed to think he's the genius, even if he is, as in Kyrou's and Arbor's case and stuff. But if you start thinking you're better than the players, man, you got a long ways to go. You're not going to last. Yeah. And that happened to Mike. We had to fire him. Not wanting to, but knowing it was over.
And what was that like? Firing Mike Keenan, because that was his first NHL coaching job, right? So, he wasn't necessarily – he may have been the crazy Mike, but in terms of his reputation on the outside of Philadelphia, people didn't really know the Mike Keenan that we know today, who's gone through the league. And
he got confident pretty quick.
Brett Hall called him a tyrant when he came on with us and whatever. So
we had Mike on too.
We've had Keenan on with us too. So did you know right away that probably wasn't going to work? Like, how would you have reacted playing for a coach like that?
I never had one. I don't know, but Mike. He got the reputation and the nickname of Iron Mike, and then he tried to live up to it. The things he did, he went from team to team to team, and it wasn't that, like, his coaching style was just to abuse the players, to drive the players. Every team he left, there was nothing left. Our team was. When he left us, Mark Howe could hardly walk, Tim Kerr, all these great players, he played them till there was nothing left. Just used them. And it caught up with him everywhere he went. Teams were hiring him because they thought, he's going to turn our team into a tough team. It doesn't happen. No coach can turn you into a tough, physical team if you don't have the right players and the right attitude and everything else. And I think Mike's process of doing things was just wrong the whole time. When you're abusing players and abusing people, that's not coaching.
No, and
like define abusing, so people like they kind of understand, like just wearing them out mentally, bringing them in, playing mind games,
tearing them down,
to belittle, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's. Well, I know the one story. Mike had called. We had the Sutter twins just a long time ago, Ron and Rich.
Oh yeah.
And Ron was a little better player, but they're both good team players. And he'd call Ron in and just give him shit that if he didn't have a great game, then he was going to bench Richie.
Oh God.
Do you call that coaching? When I found out about it, I didn't call it coaching. That's a horrible thing to do to people.
Wow. Rich Sutter, by the way, had Rich Sutter on the back of his jersey.
Yeah, he did.
Like R-I-C-H Sutter. I mean, it was like the longest nameplate.
We had Ronnie on.
And we had Brian on.
Brian
He was unbelievable. So, all right, listen, we got to get into this Lindros situation and we had Eric on with us too. And I'm just curious, like, when did you know, we got a handful on our plate? I mean, was it the first time the dad called? Like, and how often was he calling you? And how different was that from any other player-manager relationship that you ever had to deal with, Bobby?
Well, first of all, Eric's a Hall of Fame hockey player.
Yeah.
And in many cases, this level of player has had special treatment. And not always wrong and stuff. What I felt like I found out, I got along good with his dad, but I felt like his dad, who represented him, and his mom, that our team was there to help Eric be great. It wasn't the other way around, and that's the way Eric had been everywhere he had been. Everybody was supposed to try and make Eric good. Eric himself's a good guy. I don't think he wanted that, but that's the way he was brought up. And it ended up that, of course, he started having some head problems, some concussions. And then it was our trainer's fault. No matter what doctors we sent them to, they weren't good enough. They weren't giving Eric what he needed. And Eric found his own doctors, and his dad found them for him, and they'd have different opinions and stuff. So it eventually he became too much outside the team. You end up, even the top players can end up taking too much from a team. That when he decided not to sign with us and come back, in some ways it was a relief. And that, believe it or not, that year, Bill Barber coached, and John LeClaire had back surgery and missed 3/4 of the year, and we still got 100 points without Lindros and LeClaire. I mean, it just reinforces it's always the team that's strong. Team is stronger than any individual, no matter how good you are. And Eric, finished. We traded with the Rangers. He went to Toronto and I think Dallas and stuff. But I think his head injuries caused him more problems. And, had he been healthy, I think he would have played a long time.
Yeah, there's no question. He was such a dominating player. I mean, is it true that he had the collapsed lung? And did they really say that you tried to kill Eric by trying to put him on an airplane with a collapsed lung? I mean, like, did it just get really just crazy at one point?
Media.
It was. The team was in Atlanta, I think, and Eric was having some problems. He ended up having a collapsed lung and was put in the hospital. So I called our doctor, who had been in touch with the doctor who was looking after Eric and stuff. And I just said, could we get a private plane and get Eric back to Philadelphia? where our own doctors could look after him. Well, his dad's interpretation was that I tried to get Eric on a plane that would have killed him. And that never happened. I mean, I certainly asked if putting him on a private plane to get him back to Philadelphia would be a good thing to do, but it wasn't my intent to put him on a plane and kill him, obviously.
How ugly did it get? Like, what was the rock bottom moment in terms of your relationship with him? Was there a moment where you guys had to, look at each other face to face and it got real ugly? Because, he ended up sitting out a full year. I mean, he had all the concussions and whatnot. How bad did it get? Just so people know.
I guess it got bad for Eric and it got bad for the team. And I'm not blaming Eric or his family. I'm as much to blame as they are. It was handled poorly by both sides. We've had some old timers games and stuff where Eric's come back to. And the first one was a little bit uncomfortable. I was playing still, and he was playing, and I walked over to him and stood. And, I was the older one and was the manager long before all this happened and stuff. So I went over and we talked for a while. But since then, we've got a good relationship. He tells me he's got one son who's pretty aggressive on the ice, and I said, "Don't take that aggressiveness out of him." Obviously, he wouldn't, but he laughed. It's good. So we're fine now.
How did his situation just change how you look at concussions overall? I mean, how serious do you take him now? I know you're still involved with the organization as an advisor and whatever, but what did you know about concussions then in terms of what you know now? Did you take him as serious then as you do today?
I think we took him as serious as the doctors knew how serious they were. Mm-hmm. Players weren't, but players would hide too. If someone could have a concussion and they'd take 2 aspirin and not let anybody know. And, those things were going on all the time. And I think now the definition of a concussion is so much simpler and so much softer than it used to be in those days. I don't know the answer to any of how you're going to stop it, but obviously taking a couple aspirins isn't the right thing to do.
Yeah. No.
I've tried that before.
Yeah.
We all did. Yeah. You just got to wait. All right. You were the GM of Canada in the Olympics in 1998. Right? And you made Lindros the captain of that team, and maybe there was some criticism because Gretzky was on the team, Ray Bork, Eiserman, all these iconic players and names. But you get to the shootout, and Mark Crawford, going up against Dominic Hasek, and he doesn't choose Gretzky. At the time, you're watching the game live, you're at the game, you're the manager of the team. What's going through your mind at that point in time, Bobby? Did you agree with the decision?
Oh, it was a horrible decision. Well, there's 2 horrible decisions. Number one, Gretzky should have been captain. I've regretted that. And it wasn't I think Lindros would have been much better the next Olympics. Mm-hmm. You just don't do a stupid thing like I did and put him ahead of Wayne Gretzky. It's unfair to the player. But secondly, to not use Gretzky, who shines at the darkest moments. Anytime there's a hard moment in a game, Gretzky shines. That was a hard moment in the Olympics. And to leave Gretzky on the bench was, it was a coach's decision, I know. Probably the coach is disgusted, but I don't know. I didn't say anything to Mark later because we were out. It was too late anyway. Mm-hmm. But it was a poor decision.
Yeah, and we've had Mark on with us. We've had Gretzky on with us too. Did you ever talk to Gretzky about it?
I haven't. No, okay. I don't. And I should. Maybe I'll ask him the next time I run into him. I never have. I'll tell you a funny story about Gretzky. Is late in my career, early in his career, Edmonton comes to town, and they're not And they got Messi and all those guys. They're going to be really good, but they're still really young. And we're playing them, and we're up a goal late in the third period, and they pull their goalie, and I'm out there defending. And I come up behind Gretzky, and I just cross-check him really hard in the back. Down he goes. And that time is a 6-on-5. There's no penalty going to be called in those days. So anyways, after the game, we get in the car and driving home with my wife, and she's pissed. And I said, "What's the matter with you?" She said, "How could you do that to that nice young boy?"
Oh.
Yeah, Gretzky at the time looked like my 12-year-old son.
He did.
He looked so young, and I looked at her and I said, "Because that nice young boy is going to be kicking our ass for a long time."
He's going to embarrass me.
Yeah, and he did.
Yeah.
Hey, what was your relationship with Ron Hextall? And did you like his antics and kind of just the intensity he brought to the team and to the ice and just to the position overall? Because
we had him on too, by the way.
Yeah, and listen, like Jordan Binnington's kind of like, if there ever was like a goaltender today that was close to Hextall, and he's not even close to being Hextall, not even close at all. But he plays with a little bit of fire. How did that impact the rest of the team? Did you like that fire that he brought to the table?
Loved it. I loved Hextall. He from the time he got there, I signed him to his first contract. I didn't draft him. Jerry Melnick drafted him, but I signed him to his first contract, and he wasn't very good in camp, and we sent him to Kalamazoo, which was the International League. And Billy Inglis was coaching down there, and Hextall was shooting the pucks around and out of the net, and he said, "What the hell did you send me?" Anyway, someone gets hurt in Hershey. We bring him up to our American League team in Hershey, and he was just incredibly good. And the following year, Lindbergh got killed halfway through the year, and Snyder wanted me to bring up Hextall. But he'd just been there in Hershey. He was part of the Hershey team, and I just said, "He's not ready yet. He'll be here next year, and it was the right decision. We got beat by the Rangers, but Hextall was part of the team in Hershey. To take him from Hershey at that time and try and beat the Rangers by himself or be the reason that we could beat the Rangers was really not fair to anybody. And the next year, Hextall come up, and it was from then on the fire and the competitiveness and stuff. It rubs off on everybody when you have those types of players. Practices, man, you don't piss around in practice when you got fiery people like that out there. No. You work, They're invaluable kind to get a guy like that. Plus his ability to play. He is a good player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't mess around.
You'll get a good whack in the back of the leg.
Goal stick in their hand. Hey, was that a bad decision to fire him as general manager?
No, it had to be. When Paul Holmgren hired him, I thought it was the best decision that he could have made. And when Hexy come in, we remained friends, but he alienated everybody right away. He shut his door. He locked the doors. He was the boss, and nobody else was part of it. We end up drafted. We get the second pick in the draft, and we end up drafting Nolan Patrick. None of our scouts wanted Nolan Patrick. It wasn't, I don't know where Patrick should have gone after his performances in Brown, and he's a pretty good player, but he certainly, they wanted Makar. Of course, he went next. No, he's a superstar, and Patrick hasn't played number, but Hextall made that choice himself. And there were other choices that were made in our drafts that we're paying for. We've got 2 or 3 first-round picks that are never going to play. And that's why we're struggling. Hexy made some huge mistakes. And more than that, just alienating everybody. He never included anybody. He made himself bigger than the team. And that is something I would never, ever have thought of with Hexy, because he was such a team player. Even the alumni were kept out of the locker rooms and stuff. Those kind of things don't work.
Yeah.
No,
And they backfired. Flyers, we're way behind right now. We got a long ways to go to catch up.
Yeah.
And the salary cap affects everybody. We all know the salary cap, but everybody works with it. So we all have to. We've got to get back to the middle of the pack and then start pecking our way up.
Yeah. No, the alumni. Listen, you can't separate yourself from the alumni.
No, you cannot.
Hey, he gave the Blues Braden Shen too. You know, so I mean, you know, so
that was just as bad.
You know,
nobody knew it. Hexie made that on his own. All our scouts. It was at the draft. Yeah. Our scouts were so mad at Hexie for doing that, trading Shen. And we also, I'm talking too much, but we also had a chance to get O'Reilly from Buffalo, but we didn't. Obviously, that was the manager's decision, but it was another one that the scouts weren't consulted on. So,
did he ever talk about that? I mean, did you talk to him about that? I mean,
no, I sat at the table 3 seats away from him when he traded Shen and didn't have a clue.
Yeah, I remember interviewing him at the draft. I was there, you know, working for the Blues or whatever at the draft and interviewing him about the Shen trade and you guys got Yori Laterra I think
he was a star.
I think you got a first-round pick too out of it, maybe.
Yeah, so, we did.
We did.
Or two. We should have got 2. I don't know what we got. I know we got a first pick. I think we got 2 first picks. But so what?
Yeah,
I know.
He's a hell of a player. You know, he's a hell of a.
Kidding.
And he's obviously been a big part of this team, you know, where they're at right now. Hey, what's your relationship like with Craig Berube? I mean, he's had a huge impact here in St. Louis as well and turned himself into a pretty good coach. Like, are you surprised that he's had as much success as he's having right now?
No, are you kidding? I signed Chief as right out of Medicine Hat in junior. He hadn't been drafted. And he went into the American League and played and fought his way to the NHL. And he was one of those players who would do anything. He wasn't highly skilled, obviously, but he was physical and he'd fight for the team. He wasn't one of those guys who went out and fight because somebody pissed him off. He fought for the team. If someone was bothering somebody that couldn't defend themselves, he'd do it for them. He was terrific. And when he went into coaching, I was managing. And we come in and sat down. He finished up on Washington. He was real good friends with Dale Hunter and George McPhee and those guys. And they recognized what he had and they had offered him an assistant coaching job in the NHL. And he came in to see me. And, you know, we were friends, so we could talk. And I said to him, what do you want to do in your life? You know, he said, well, I want a head coach in the NHL. I said, then you got a decision to make. I'll make you head coach of Hershey. And you can run your own squad, or you can go to Washington and probably make more money and be an assistant coach. But I said, it's a tough way to make head coaching if you've never been a head coach. So, I don't know, 2 or 3 days later, we get talking again. He said, I'll come to Hershey. And he went there and worked his way into the NHL, and Hexie should have never fired him. You know, Berube, to his credit, he went back to the American League.
He did.
And worked his way back up to the NHL. Yeah, I went to Chicago, I think, or somewhere.
Yeah,
he worked his way back into the NHL. And now he's a hell of a coach.
Yeah, he really
There's probably 15 coaches. There's probably 15 places in the league that are exchange right away with you.
Oh, yeah. He's in the final year of his deal. He's in the final year of his deal. He won't be going anywhere, though. And he credits you a lot, Bobby. I mean, I hear him mention your name.
Yeah, we had him on
all the time, you know, in terms of people who have impacted his life and his career.
Can I ask him a corny question? Yeah. Look, I didn't go to journalism school like Andy did, so I'm not good at elaborating questions but we have a ton of tough guy fans that just love to hear about it. You've played with Dave Schultz. You've seen a lot of big Dave Brown too. I mean, who had more of an impact in the league as far as just pure fear in your soul when you go out there knowing this guy's going to come get you? Who had more of an impact, you think?
I think Davey Schultz had more of an impact on the league. And it was only for about 4 years. That's when every team all of a sudden started trying to get fighters. Dave Brown was consistently tough for years and years. But the best and the toughest guy that I ever saw was Ben Wilson.
Oh, Big Ben.
Like the eyes, he had the eyes that spin and stuff. He first come out to the league in the exhibition schedule. We go in and play the Islanders, and he beats Clarke Gillies. And Clarke was a veteran in those days, and Clarke wasn't a goon at all. He was a great player, but he was big and tough. And the next night we go and play the Rangers, and he wails on Bubba back. Like, it wasn't even close. He just beat people whenever he wanted to. But after the first year, he never fought hardly. He just wanted to prove he was the toughest. He didn't do it for the team.
Oh, yeah.
He just did it for himself. So we eventually traded him. I didn't, but we got Doug Crossman for him. So it was a good trade.
Yeah. It's Ben with an H, by the way, for people keeping score.
He's a big guy, too.
Yeah, he was. I saw a great fight with him. I don't know if it was with Tony Twist the other day that I saw a video of him, scrapping, going toe-to-toe.
I got one more for you. Yeah. Speaking of Twister, and we're going to let you go, Bob. You've been great, and we really appreciate this. But as far as, a new school tough guy, in their prime, like Twister, when you saw Tony Twister, he's a good friend of ours. We've had him on and lives in St. Louis. Like, how scary was he? And was there anybody scarier in the 90s when he was in his peak?
I don't think so. Detroit had Kosher and Probert. They were the same. And Twist was really tough. Well, you had Gassoff earlier. It was pretty tough, too.
Oh, Bobby. Yep.
There's been some pretty tough people come through. But I'll bet if you asked Twister, he knew that sooner or later somebody was going to be tougher than him. Because there's always someone coming who's younger and bigger and stronger.
Big George the Rock came and kind of beat him one time.
Boogaard,
Boogie, man. Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. It's always that way. It always was that way. But that made it exciting. And when they pretty much eliminated this type of player from the game, they did the game a disservice. I know you guys watch the game, and I watch the game. I used to watch, and when player X come on the ice, you thought, here we go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Even if it didn't happen, you were excited. They brought that excitement. They brought that. You're alert then.
Damn right.
Now you have too many. For me, the game goes up and down the ice rapidly, and there's too long a time between. The only excitement is really when there's a goal scored or the odd hit. Mm-hmm. They've taken out that. When you used to get excited because you thought something was going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Hey, and listen, you played your entire career with Philadelphia. You wore number 16, except for 2 games. Your jersey got stolen there. We didn't even ask about your jersey getting stolen. You had to wear 36 for
36
or whatever it was for a couple of games, right? Until they got your jersey back. But listen, Claude Giroux right now, he's spent his entire career with Philly. He's inching closer to your all-time scoring record in terms of the Flyers. I mean, do you think he can catch you? I think he's at, he's at 887 right now at the time of the interview. You finished with more than 1,200 points. Do you see him being able to catch you? And do you think he's going to stay with Philly after this year?
I hope like hell that he catches me, because that'll mean that he's finished his career really, really good, like his whole career has been. I think a decision is going to come this year whether he will remain for his whole career in Philadelphia, or he may think that he should move on to get a chance to win the Stanley Cup. I don't know. Those decisions are coming, but I really wished he had passed me. It's time somebody did.
Yeah.
How come it didn't work with Alain Vigneault? I thought that was going to be a good marriage.
Yeah, I don't know because I'm not obviously in the locker room or in the management chair and stuff. I don't really know what happened there, but it had all fallen apart when Al was let go. It was whatever he had accomplished the first year, it kind of started falling apart in the second year, and the third year he couldn't get it back. It was just gone. It had to be done.
Hey, we appreciate you coming on. One last thing, and we'll let you go. I know you're playing golf. How was your golf game? And we know that you're missing a finger, And does that affect your game at all? And if it doesn't, do you brag about it and say, "Look, I'm missing a finger. I'm still kicking all your
How'd
asses."
you lose your finger? How'd you lose the finger?
A werewolf bit it off.
Yeah. No, I tore the tendon and it broke and the finger is dangling. So the doctor tried to sew it back together and all that. It just never worked. The finger is just hanging there. So it was easier to take off. I never even think about it anymore, to tell you the truth. And my golf game sucks.
Welcome to the club. I'm glad. I like that. It makes me feel better about myself.
But come on, Bobby, you're playing 6 days a week.
Yeah, you got to get.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, that means I get one good round a week, and 5 shitty ones.
Socialize is what people want to hear stories from.
Yeah.
Bobby, you're the best.
Thank
you so much.
We appreciate it. We like getting the icons to come on, man, and tell stories. And I'm glad you got back to me, man. It was awesome having you on, and all the best. You know, honestly, keep doing. What are you doing with the Flyers now? Before we let you go,
Jesus, Andy, the poor guy's got a tea time.
You're still with them though, right? You're like an advisor.
Yeah, I've got a senior position where I do nothing, but I'm really good at it.
And you get paid for it. I like that. I like that.
Perfect,
you deserve it. You deserve it. Go enjoy yourself, Bobby. Right on, buddy.
Bet, guys. Thanks
See
a lot.
you, buddy.
See you, Bobby.
Say hi to Chief for me.
You got
we
it.
will, man.
We will for sure.
See you, bud.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? That interview was brought to you by Daredevil Hockey and daredevilhockey.com. Use that promo code today, Cam and Strick. It's going to save you 25%. All caps, Cam and Strick, Daredevil Hockey. Get yourself protected today. That was Bobby Clarke. Your thoughts on Bobby?
Fucking badass, dude. Just the coolest cat going. He's a cool cat, man, and he doesn't give a shit, and he's golfing every day, and he's going to call out guys, and he's going to call out...
what do you think he said about Hexy?
Hexy, man. We had Hexy on. He just chirps Hexy, and he's like, this is what...
I've heard that about Hexy. He was a little bit of a control freak, kind of shut some guys out and whatever.
Sound like it, yeah. He sounded like it, but now he's doing pretty good with Pittsburgh right now.
But the Flyers, man, just in general, they just cannot seem to... they cannot seem to get it together.
They fuck up.
As an organization.
Yeah. Since the 70s, they've been tough. It's been tough for them. The Eric Lindros thing to just, hiring, even like a Hatch and those guys, it just didn't work out. They signed a bunch of guys and they got close, but it just never turned out. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck to say.
No, they got close. They went to the final.
I know they got killed.
But they had some drama, obviously, Lindros situation and whatever. But
and they signed some guys to some big tickets, and
I could see Clarke not having any patience for Eric Lindros, though, man.
I don't blame him.
I wonder how many players like that had. And listen, I don't like to bash on Eric because I have so much respect for him as a player.
I get you.
And so it's not about that, but I wonder how and we've had him on, but still, to have your parents that involved.
Andy, it's ridiculous. You see how it is with
But his dad was his agent. I mean, it's not like it's just like a random parent just calling. I mean, it's like, agents call general managers all the time and whatever. So that's not unusual. And it just so happened to be his agent was his dad, so.
Yeah, and that's just not a good, it's just, I don't know, it's not a good layout, man, to have your dad be that involved. You never want your dad that involved. I don't know. Just have a regular agent. It just, anytime your family's involved in money and business and shit like that, it just never goes right. It just doesn't, especially when they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm not saying that they did, but how could they know? How the fuck does his dad know what the fuck he's talking about? Did he play? Was he in this mix? How the fuck does his dad know what's good for his son?
Well, he knows what's good for his son.
Well, how?
But I don't know if he knows what's good for his career. There's a big difference.
No, exactly.
There's a difference
what's the difference? No, there's not a big difference because your career trajectory is just, it's all happiness. Like what's good for you, that's good for your son.
Just because your son's good doesn't necessarily mean you know the game and whatever.
That's what I mean, right? Like that's what I mean. It's like your dad knows you.
It'd be like Connor McDavid's or Crosby if their dad was their agent right now.
It's like my dad always said when he got in fights with our AAA coach and stuff, and my AAA coach would be like, Don Morehouse would say, you don't know the game. My dad's like, yeah, you're right. But I do know my son. Mm-hmm. But what does that mean?
There you go. So you're understanding what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that means my dad doesn't know shit. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know the game. And my dad was wrong. Mm-hmm. Because my dad wanted me to play more and this, that, or just something. But it didn't work.
You weren't playing much?
No, I was playing a shit ton.
No, but he wanted you to play more.
I was getting kicked out of tournaments and stuff like that. And it was I don't know what the fuck it was, but my dad wasn't right, and he wasn't right. But my dad didn't know the game, and we were just pissed because I kept getting kicked out of tournaments, and that was just on me. Mm-hmm. And my dad was kind of wrong, but then my dad realized it, and he's like, no, we quit, and we went back in it. So my point is, no, I am right.
Yeah.
My dad didn't know a fucking thing. He didn't. He didn't know the game.
Yeah.
He did not. Mm. but he knew me, but that didn't help in that particular situation.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, I hope people enjoyed Bobby Clarke, man. He's a trip.
He's great.
He's funny. He is great. We love talking to the old school guys. Again, go to camstrick.com. Again, our beer is going to be released this week. Look for that. Every major retailer, the Cam Strick hard seltzer, mango lemonade, baby. You can find that.
Yeah, sexy.
And we'll have our release party coming up on the 21st. It's a Friday night at 7 o'clock. Don't be late. All right. The Cam Strick podcast is brought to you by Hair Club, of course. hairclub.com/Cam Strick. Go to the landing page and make your appointment there. You're going to save $250. So it's actually a great incentive to do so. You can call and do all that type of stuff, but the incentive is to go to hairclub.com/Cam Strick.
Yep. Man or woman, it don't matter.
It does not matter.
No.
Okay. And then you can go there. You can always call 800-279-7878 as
Set
well.
that appointment up.
And just make sure you tell them.
Yep.
We've got our beer coming out, by the way. We got our release party coming up on the 21st. So hopefully we see everybody out there. Come on by. 7 o'clock is when it starts, giveaways and whatever. Don't be late. Just get there. And it's the 9 o'clock drop of the puck that night.
That'll be a good game. No, we're going to go. We're going to have
Seattle.
a party.
Oh, big shout out to Jaden Schwartz, by the way, my boy.
He got hurt.
He's got the hand injury.
Yeah.
He won't be playing in that game and whatever.
We like him. He's a good
We may
dude.
have to get him on, actually, now
I'll get Schwartz,
now that he's got a little time on his hands
good call.
and whatever. And also, on a serious note, I do want to give a shout out to Joel Edmondson. His dad, Bob.
I know.
That's the best part about this job, honestly. Working on the television side is that you get to know the families, dude.
Yep.
And you get to know a lot of the people, the parents, especially when they win a Stanley Cup, that whole run, like seeing the parents, whatever. And I was in regular contact with Bob Edmondson. Great guy. I was looking through some text messages the other day, like talking about how excited he was that his kid was signing with the Montreal Canadiens or got traded there, whatever. However, he ended up getting to Montreal because that was his favorite team growing up, and he always painted his office in Montreal Canadiens colors and stuff like that. I knew how close that
we like Joel
was with his dad.
Sweetheart.
And his dad was very influential in AAA hockey where they grew up. And for kids who couldn't afford to play, his dad would help pay for those kids and buy them skates and do stuff like that. So just an unbelievable person, and my heart goes out to Joel, man. I mean that.
I like him a lot, man.
You know,
Great guy.
so we're thinking about Joel Edmondson, the entire Edmondson family, for everything that they're going through right now. So, again, big shout-out to Joel Edmondson. We're thinking about them after the loss of his father, Bob Edmondson. All right, carshield.com, 800-857-2481. Mention that promo code CAM. You're going to save 10%. So get the CarShield today. Bellman.com, out there in Troy, Missouri, BEHLMANN.com. You got the Buick GMC on one side of the street and the Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on the other side of the street. Go. So do that and get out there today and get yourself something in time for the spring. The spring's going to be here before you know it. So do that. The Better Business Bureau. Did you know that it was founded over 100 years ago by ethical businesses seeking voluntary self-regulation without the need for government regulation?
I knew that.
Did you know that?
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, so to apply to join the ranks of other trustworthy businesses, if you're a business owner, you want to do this, call the BBB at 645-3300. You can go to bbb.org as well.
Yeah.
And do that today with the Better Business Bureau. We talked about the importance of Daredevil Hockey. Again, use that promo code Cam Strick. It's going to save you 25%. So do that today as well. And don't mess around with these skate lacerations, man. It's got that Kevlar protection. And we love having them on board, man. We've been talking about, Daredevil Hockey for several months here. People are reaching out now, asking about what that promo code is. If you have any trouble when you're with your purchase and all that type of stuff, like say the promo code's not working, just reach out to us and we can help you out with that as well. Yes. So again, daredevilhockey.com. All right, this has been the Cam and Strick podcast. camandstrick.com. If you miss any episodes, you can go there, download any previous episodes. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple too, and we love to see these reviews. Okay, so we want to see those, and big shout out to all our listeners. Thank you for all the support. As we're back on track here in 2022, we had the best of for a couple of episodes. Had some good one. We've got some good ones coming too.
We got some monsters coming at you guys, baby.
So we always enjoy
Andy
it.
hooked it up. Andy knows it. Look, if we got these Hall of Famers coming on, man, that don't do many. It's all on Andy. Andy gets these guys, and they come and they bring the heat, just like you did with Bobby.
Bobby, you brought the heat with Bobby too.
Did I?
I don't know. Did you?
I don't know if I fucking did. I'm
Well,
just not
we'll let
good
the
at it.
listeners be the judge. It's all
I'm
good.
not-
Don't
no,
be
you were good.
Don't be hard
I
on yourself.
pumped your tires up. No, you were really good at asking questions.
Don't be
I'm
hard
just
on
not
yourself.
good. I asked him about stupid tough guy questions, but I just felt like I had to do that.
Okay.
But you know, like the ins and outs of his transactions and shit, and I'm just like, keep going. That's why I'm a good teammate.
Yeah. Okay.
I chirp you,
All right.
but I'm a good teammate.
All right. This has been the Cam Strick podcast.